Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. This is Rabbi Simon Kefa Cohen before you on this beautiful Shabbat day in beautiful state of Ohio, and of course sunshine, city of Fremont. It's been snowing last night. We had a bit of snow last evening. I think it was expected to be about 6 inches, although I'm not sure it's 6 inches, but we have some snow that settled out there. Interesting weather in April over here, while I'm pretty sure Florida's fully hot and baking in the sun, and everybody's kind of indoors because of the coronavirus. So it's kind of interesting times for everyone over here. Businesses shut down, people mostly home. What I do hear of is, and what I do read is that a lot of families are having troubles and problems regarding their relationships. And as Rabbi Kefa had told you a couple of weeks ago, that in China the divorce rate has gone up, and although that's not the only story of China, the divorce rate, or at least the divorce rate, is going to go up in this country as well, because there were some lawyers that were saying in New York that they're getting calls from their clients saying, when am I going to get my divorce gone through? So there are people over here as well that are anxious to divorce their partners and move on. Now, you may have heard that China had underreported its figures of death, and they have now revised their figures 50% up. China is unfortunately known for not reporting accurate figures. So that you will see now that is the case. Now, before I go on to other things and what's happening around the world, and I give you a brief, I wanted to, it's been a while since I've actually asked the family here, Mishpacha here, for any assistance regarding things happening outside. I do have a situation where certain families in the East are without food, and of course, as you know, that there is no government subsidy, although the government claims there's a subsidy, but many people have not been handed out a subsidy over there. Some people have and others have not received a subsidy, and the subsidy is about $25 a month, roughly. I'm giving you rough figures here. And $25 a month for an average family that needs about $200 a month. Well, you can work out yourself how far that goes for buying food, if they get the money. And I know from 90% of the people that I've kind of heard, yeah, there's no PPP plan in Pakistan either, where the employers keep you and they pay you 80%, and the government, or 100%, as in the UK, they give you 80%, and the other 20% they can borrow loans, and over here they give you 100%, I guess, and they can borrow loans for their business expansion and stuff. There's no such plans in Pakistan and India and other countries around about. So what over there is that some rich families may go out there and say, you know what, we're going to help out some people, and they give food. And this is the best thing, is to give food. So don't give money to people, because people may misuse the money and apply it somewhere else. So in my situation, I decided the best thing to do is that these families that are poor and struggling, because their husbands of these women, their children are small, and their husbands could not go to work because of the lockdown, and they're like daily workers. Like if you don't go for a daily work, you don't get your daily wage. So how far can you go with no pay, right? So what I've decided to do is pick some families, and not that I'm not saying that I haven't already done it. I've already done some, but I need to do a bit more. And I want to pick some families and just buy them food for their need. And for that, I would request, I'm not demanding it, I'm requesting that we at Forever Israel, at Abrahamic-Faith, that we stretch out our hands to those that are got no food on their table. Baruch Hashem, Yahweh, our tables are full of food. And our president is a great man, a good president, and he's helping his people here. But there are people in the third world that have no help, and their tables are empty. And I'm not saying that it's their fault or whose fault it is. I don't think now is not the time to talk about whose fault it is, but if we can help, then that would be great. So those of you who can assist, by all means, please send in any donations and help. You can send it to Rabbi Kefa, to his Gentile name, Lamont Clophus, Rabbi Lamont, Lamont, Clophus, Clophus, to the San Antonio address that's listed on our Forever-Israel website, or the Abrahamic-Faith.info website. And it can go to Rabbi Kefa. Just mark the check with just mark it as G, so we know it's a gift for food. And if you do the PayPal, you can send it directly through the website. On the forever-israel.com website, there's a PayPal Donate Now icon. You can click on that, and you can send it to me directly, whatever donation amount you desire. And so that money will be used in the East. So on top of that, if you are having trouble with PayPal in any particular way, because some of you may be having trouble, you can send it to me direct, just using my email, shimoun63@yahoo.com. That's shimoun63@yahoo.com. Shimoun63@yahoo.com. If you're having trouble with PayPal, that you completely can't use it because, technology-wise, then you can also download an app called Cash. And Cash app you can download from the Google Play Store or Apple Store, and you can send it directly as cash payment to my account on it. And my account is $, Simon Altaf. That's $, Simon, SIMON, ALTAFF of Fred. Send it directly to that, and that will also come to me. So I'm very grateful for any help that's received. I do have, and I don't want to say too much here because we are speaking to the public here as well. I can tell you that the money that I have earmarked, and I have earmarked money for some people for their medical needs as well. And let me put it very plainly. And again, I don't like to say out loud because people get the wrong idea. I did get the $1,200 from the government, and I intend to use it to help other people. That is my intention. I first was thinking maybe I should put it in the stock market, maybe I should do something with investment, but then I thought about it. No, right now the most critical need, some people might die in hospital from illnesses, and it's not that they're going to die from coronavirus. They may die from a related illness, like maybe flu, maybe lung issue like asthma, or some other issue, fever. So some of those people have come into my line of work as well, that I know some people are in the hospital right at this minute. And so I decided that instead of looking for my investment, I'm going to send this help to them instead. So that's my plan. So therefore, additionally, there are families that are without food. I have been helping families without food already. This is not something that I haven't done. I've already done it, but there are more families. Even though I have instructed that the families that I've given food to, put food on their table, I have told them not to tell anybody, because I don't want a whole big queue outside my house over there, lining up people saying, where is my portion? Like, I've got some kind of handout from American government or something. Because see, people get the wrong idea. They think some NGO has given you $2 million or something, and you're going to scam the money for yourself and not help the people. But I'm not in any NGO. I'm a Kohen in the gate, and whatever I can do to help people, I will. And so this is why I ask you that wherever you can help, please do. and the money will be used in that direction of food, and more than likely your money will be used in the food direction only. I will use my money towards hospital care and towards medical assistance, where some people I know are already ill, and they're not ill from corona, they're ill from, in fact, the Aisha was telling me over there that they had the team come around and they did a test for all of them. They did their little test to identify the coronavirus, and nobody in their street had the coronavirus. They're all clean. Now there's a rich family there that invited, that had what you call they had reach. So they called those people in. They said, come and check our people over here. That's how things are done in Pakistan, by the way. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So anyhow, so the people came in and they did their testing, and they said nobody here has got coronavirus. So they were all clean, which is great. So the people that I'm talking about, they are not coronavirus patients. They are patients that have other conditions, like maybe suddenly they became ill from asthma attack, or they got high fever from something else. There's a lot of things in the air, and that kind of thing. So because the families are not working, the problem is not that they got this illness now and they haven't had it in the past. They've had it in the past as well. The problem is this, that they don't have the money to support the medical needs, because before they would work, bring in pay in the house and pay for the medical need, because they don't have insurances, by the way. In Pakistan, there's no insurance scheme. You have to pay the doctor's money. Even if you go in a government hospital, you don't have to pay a lot to register a patient. It's practically next to nothing, in American terms. But you do have to pay for the medical care. In other words, they will tell you to go get this medicine, go buy, this. Everything that they ask you to buy, it will run into hundreds of dollars, and you have to pay for that. Doctors do not provide that. Just know this. So doctors do not provide it. Atara's having a problem, I think, with the audio. Anybody else having problems with audio? My side is fine. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, James. So now on the, let me also point out to you one other thing which will be handy for you to know, which I think Rabbi Kefa mentioned last week, and I'll mention it again. I'll reiterate the point. Right now, the government in every country, almost, across the Western Hemisphere and probably the Eastern as well, is saying to the people that if you can't make your payments, to your card payments, to your loan payments for mortgages, that you can have a reprieve up to 3 months. At least I know this is the case in the UK. Not sure about France and Germany, but UK you can have a reprieve up to 3 months. Now, in America, you can have a reprieve up to 3 months as well. So I would ask you to take advantage of this scheme and, go on the scheme and save your money for the next 3 months and use it for food or use it for whatever your needs are. That is the best opportunity you have to save 3 months of money. If you owe loans, and if you owe mortgage loans and home loans and whatever, car loans, put it on the scheme. Put it off for 3 months. And for 3 months, save your money for food. So you have ample money to buy food, or maybe, something that you need in the house that is critical that you didn't have money for. Use it for that, because now is a great opportunity to do that. Now, I know some of you out there are thinking, hey, but what about the extra interest I will pay? If I make a $400 payment on the loan and I don't make it for 3 months, then I have $1,200, then I have interest. Don't worry about the extra $10 of interest that you will pay. Why do I say that? Because look, this scheme is given to you. You will not have bad credit. You will not get a bad credit report, and you are allowed to have this. Now, unless you got surplus money and you want to pay, then that's fine. You make the payment. But I'm talking about those people that have to, paycheck to paycheck. Those of you who run paycheck to paycheck, and you have, 3 cents left at the end of the paycheck, you should be looking into that for yourselves, because that may give you surplus. If you save $400 a month, that's $1,200 for 3 months. $1,200 will maybe help you go a little bit. Plus, you should be getting $1,200 from the government. All of you that are working or not working, and are American, you should be getting $1,200 for help from the government. And especially if you're a taxpayer in this country. Even if you're a taxpayer, you're unemployed, you're a pensioner, whatever you are, whatever is your label. I don't care if you came from Mars or you came from, some other planet, Mercury maybe, you're allowed to have that. Government will be sending you a check. Adelia, you should be getting a check as well because you're a taxpayer. Unless you earn over $100,000, then you will not get a check. If your salary is under $100,000, now by the way, that's not including husband and wife. If a husband and wife earn $150,000, they will still get a check. Now, if their salary together, husband and wife, goes to $151,000, they will not get a check. An individual that is not married, single, they have to be earning over $100,000 not to get a check. Thank you for that, Eddie. Adelia, you can click on that link that Eddie's posted, irs.gov coronavirus/getmypayment. And this will be the website that you need to look at because your payment's probably in the system somewhere because everybody is getting their money this week and some people are still, pending. So I would say that the money is there. It's just, being processed because some states are quicker than others because they have systems that are very old and outdated and so on and so forth, as you heard from the president. Now, Rabbi Kefa, absolutely right. Visualize your money coming in the week. Use the operant power. You have the operant power. And I was having this discussion this morning that don't fumble around and, oh, what the heck, where's my money and all that. No. Use the operant power that you have. Use it. And see that money in your hands and you will get the money. So please, what you've been taught, I've taught you so many times, so many weeks, but I'm finding that many of my students are lack of application and lack of execution. So my lecture today will be titled Execution of Power. Without execution, knowledge is absolutely useless. You can have all the knowledge in the world. You can read all the books, but if you do not execute that knowledge, you will not get anywhere in life. Now, I also wish to report two other things. Well, actually, let me give you the status of play in the UK. In the UK, United Kingdom, which is a country of my, I guess, many years spent over there, my childhood, etc., they've put a lockdown to 3 weeks, further 3 weeks. So at the end of first week in May, they will be lifting their lockdown gradually. We in this country, you already know that because we get a statement from a press release from our president every day around 6 o'clock, sometimes 5, sometimes 6, sometimes a little later, that we are going to begin to lift the lockdown on some of the states. I believe 29 states have been earmarked that they're going to be lifting off their lockdown probably, I'd say, next week. And more information will be coming forth from the State Department on that. So, 6 o'clock, you should be tuning in with your popcorn to your president, Mr. Trump. Remember, it was 5 years ago or 4 years ago when I said that we're going to have, this is going to be a great president for America, and time will show you this because a lot of people were against Mr. Trump. I remember a lot of people were against Mr. Trump when he first came into power. A lot of people were like, hey, maybe we should have had somebody else. And I said, no, this is who God put in charge, and this will be a great president. And that now is being proven that this is indeed a great president, a great friend of Israel, and a great supporter of his people in America. He doesn't look at color, or you're black, you're white. If you had seen during the Easter, he had actually had a black pastor or black bishop that was standing in the Oval, in Washington, reading the prayer from the Bible. I don't know if you saw that, but if you did, think about it. This is a white president, and he's calling a black pastor stroke bishop to speak the Easter greetings. So that shows you that this man is not, into white supremacy and all the labels that they put on him are not true. This man has a Jewish family. His daughter became Jewish and is married to a Jewish billionaire. And, he loves the Jewish people. He calls himself Christian. And Baruch Hashem for that. So, we need to be mindful of, calling our president things is not. As I've always said, that we should be lifting up our leaders. Lifting them up and praying for wisdom and understanding, that God gives them wisdom and understanding, that they may do the right thing for their people and for others. So I believe that that is very key. That is something that we have learned from our scriptures, our holy scriptures, that we do not slander our president. We do not go around making slanderous remarks and tailbearing and backbiting, because we read in the book of Daniel, and we read there that Daniel was praying for the king, even though the king erected a statue and said, "Come worship, come bow before this statue." And you know the story of the three people. But even at that point, Daniel did not say to the people, "Hey, let's slander the president, let's make stories about him." They didn't do that. Now, this is one of the things I've noted and I've observed. And you may have observed this as well. Have you noticed that how some people of color sitting in the press, how critical they are of the president? I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've seemed to notice that whether they belong to CNN or whether they belong to some other network, they are highly critical of the president. Instead of saying, "Hey, you're doing a great job," they start criticizing him. And I'm not saying the white press don't. Some of the white press do the same. But what I'm saying, look at the people they're putting in the front lines. Black people, standing up opposing the president and saying things that they should not be saying to promote their network. So whatever that network is, I don't care if it's Fox, CNN, whatever label they give themselves. And right, so Peter said maybe the same in UK as well. So my point is this, right? I'm not saying that this makes the black people bad in some way, but I'm saying that yes, it does. It does actually make our people look bad. It makes it look like that we are just opposing power, We don't like our president. We don't like our prime ministers. And that is not true. We love our president and we love our prime ministers. We are not out there to put them down and make ourselves look bigger, because we don't know all the facts on the ground. We don't know what's happening in the hospitals and how treatments are going. So we should be really mindful of what kind of words we speak. This is why I said, lift up your president. If you're in America, lift up your president for guidance, for, God gives him wisdom. And if you're in England, Europe, lift up your prime ministers, etc. So this is one second. Let me just check this. Okay, I just had a request coming in that somebody's in hospital and they want some money for medicines. Okay, so having said that, this is my request, and I want you to think about it, because I know people run their mouth on their president and their prime ministers. I know that. I've seen it with my own eyes in America, and I've seen it in UK as well. Because when we had the previous, not before Boris Johnson, when we had not talking about Theresa May, but before Theresa May, we had another prime minister, and David Cameron. He's a great guy, but people ran their mouth against David Cameron, but he's a great guy. He was a great president, a great prime minister, but they still ran their mouth against him. And then he resigned basically after the Brexit. So I don't want to go too much into politics, but don't run your mouth against your leaders. Put it this way: we're not supposed to run our mouth against our leaders. That's right. Yes. So now moving on. So you heard the China story, and you heard all the other stories. So really, I mean, coronavirus. There's a lot of fake news out there, and there's a lot of fake information out there. So take it with a piecemeal. Take it with a sip of salt, because a lot of the information out there is not correct. I don't know. Some people are calling this a bioweapon. Others are calling it other things, and you hear all sorts of terminologies out there. And I will simply say this: I remove myself from all those terminologies, and I put myself to just sit over here and do what is best for our people out there. That's it. That's where I put myself. And I'm not going to mix myself up with whether it's clearing the swamp or it's clearing the gutter or it's clearing something else. I don't use those terms, and I'm not going to use those terms, because to me, right, that's all just misleading information, and it's misinformation to just keep people busy with nonsensical things. What our people need to be focused on is Torah and the application and the execution of Torah. And I'm going to read to you something from the Torah, from our Parsha, because Passover is done. I am pretty certain that you had a great Passover, and Baruch Hashem Yahweh that you did. So in our Parsha today, we have the Parshas. Let me go back to it. Let me pull it up. We have the Parshas Shemini, Parshas 26 in the Torah, which is Vayikra, Leviticus chapter 9, verse 1. And it came to pass on the 8th day that Moshe called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel, and he said to Aaron, take a young calf for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, a handful of it, and burn it upon the altar beside the burnt sacrifice of the morning. He slaughtered also the bullock and the ram for the sacrifice of shalom offerings, which was for the people, and Aaron's sons presented to him the blood, which is sprinkled upon the altar. Now, I want to just stop there, and because my phone is being flooded by messages, so I'm gonna have to pause the phone. So the thing is this, that it says here, he slaughtered also the bullock and the ram for the sacrifice of shalom offerings. Now let me tell you what the shalom offerings are, and let me tell you really what's going on behind the scenes that you don't get to hear from this particular text, because the Torah does not spell out what does it mean. Now the Torah does speak about, within this Parsha, you will see that in chapter 10, Aaron's sons were killed. Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer and put fire therein and put incense thereon and offered profaned fire before Yahweh, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from Yahweh and devoured them, and they died before Yahweh. Okay, so that story, you all know that 2 of Aaron's sons out of the 4 were killed. 2 of my brothers died instantly. So Yahweh was not, I guess I could say that Yahweh was not favorable of persons. Like, he didn't think, well, they're the high priest's sons, and they are Moses' nephews, or maybe be lenient. Yahweh was not lenient. When his law is broken, it's broken. And so there's a lot of theories around that, but I don't want to run into theories, because a lot of rabbis have their opinions, and they're right to their opinion. They may be right, they may be wrong. It doesn't matter, because some rabbis say, oh well, because they did this, they brought in another fire that they were not commanded, or they came in without proper clothing, or they came in drunk. A lot of opinions in our Mishnah, in our Mishnaic writings. A lot of opinions of rabbis. If I start going through the opinions, it will probably be next week Saturday, and we probably haven't gone through the opinions. So don't put don't rest your life on other people's opinions, because they don't say this is the facts. They don't say that. They say this is my opinion and I believe it's this. And yes, there may be some truth to it, or no, it may be absolutely completely void of truth. So take opinion, as opinions come, because you too can have an opinion on why those 2 died. And that may be a valid opinion as well, because you have a right to the opinion. So having said that, I read the opinions, and I kind of like observe them, and I read them, and I just, leave it at that, because opinions are just that. You can read them, you can, think that they're good or bad, and then you can leave it, because different rabbis said different things. But one of the opinions that I kind of liked was Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov said that the sons of Aaron died because they gave a legal decision in the presence of their teacher Moses, or Master Moses. And they basically said that in Leviticus chapter 1 verse 7, it says that the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall put fire upon the altar which is to say that fire came down from heaven, it is nevertheless a mitzvah to bring also ordinary fire. So they believe that according to the Mishnaic ruling or Mishnaic readings, Talmudic readings as well, in Eruvin 63a, it says that this is indeed the law, that their sin was that they rendered a halakhic decision in the presence of their teacher. By the way, that is actually true. True in the sense that you're not allowed to render a halakhic decision in front of your teacher. Now, I'm not saying it's true for Moses and Aaron's sons versus somebody else. I'm saying that generally it is true that if your teacher was present in the room and somebody was seeking a decision, a halakhic decision on Torah matter, and you happened to be there as a student and you interjected and you said, well, no, it could be this, and you gave the decision answer, that is, by the way, an offense punishable by death. Now, Torah doesn't say that it's punishable by death. In other words, you're not taken before a tribunal and presented before a tribunal, and the tribunal says, yes, he's committed such an offense, he should die. No, but the offense is punishable by death by the heavens. In other words, it's up to God. Yahweh decides that. Yahweh's already decided death, but Yahweh could also say, you know what, I'll let this person off. I'm not going to kill him because he made a mistake. So, do you know who that happened with? Anybody in this room can tell me that who Yahweh didn't kill in such a decision? There was one person in the Torah that was not killed. Todah for that, Yaqub, that was Samuel. That's correct. Samuel the prophet. He also rendered a halakhic decision in front of his teacher, Eli the high priest, but he was not killed. So there is a story in our holy books where a decision that was rendered before the teacher was incorrect. I mean, he was a young man, he was a young guy at the time, probably maybe no more than 13, 14 years old, and he rendered a halakhic decision before his teacher that was, about to answer, and he answered ahead. Now that could have been death for Prophet Samuel. If it was death for him, then who's going to anoint, Shaul as a king? So therefore, he didn't die because Yahweh forgave him, simply because he was a young man and he didn't know what he was doing was incorrect. So my point is that several opinions in the Torah, but it doesn't have to be that all the opinions are true. Now, before I get into other things, I did wanted to point out that last week, and I believe the person's in the room, last week there was a method that we were discussing, and I don't know if you remember that there was somebody had asked me to do a meditation on smoking, although I don't recall the person using the smoking meditation, not to smoke. But they did use an affirmation I gave them, and using that affirmation technique, they have now stopped smoking, that particular person, in 1 week. It took them about 1 week to do it. Now that may be a really fast manifestation. And there is a recording, by the way, that I made for not smoking, a meditation that I made, and that's being tested right now by another person who may be a smoker. And if you wish to test it, if you are a smoker and you desire to stop smoking like a chimney, then request it from me and I will be more than happy to send it to you to test it. Now, what has come to pass is this, that as I said earlier, that power that has been given to you must be executed. What does it mean that they sacrifice? Let's come back to the sacrifice now and the power. The first thing that what happened was, and this is paramount to understanding. In paramount that in chapter 9, it says it was the 8th day. Listen to this carefully now. 8th day, day of abundance, day of receiving blessings, receiving abundance from the heavens. And the elders of Israel, these are the princes, these are the leaders of the tribes of Israel, were called up. Aaron was there, his sons were there, and they took a young calf for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. Then also they gave shalom offerings. What are these shalom offerings? And a lot of this is buried in mystery, by the way. A lot of this, if you go to rabbis, they'll give you their own opinions, and it's buried in mystery, because what does it mean? Here, what we are dealing with is what I would term, in my present speech, is what I would call it the karmic offerings. What's the karma? Karma is basically when you have committed evil, not you necessarily as a person, maybe your forefathers, maybe your grandfather, maybe your great-grandfather, and even before that. People who do things that are wrong, violations of the Torah, inadvertently or advertently, deliberately or not so deliberately, they are what's karma that you receive in life. Male and female. You will receive karma from your mother and father. So, how do we stop that karma? That is what we got the shalom offerings for. Without the shalom offering, you can forget about it, that your karma will continue with you. In other words, the evil, and not necessarily you didn't commit the evil, your forefathers did. Now you may say, but Rabbi, but the Torah says that the third generation and the fourth generation Yahweh will not judge. It will only go up to the fourth generation. Torah talks about fourth generation, that yes, the Torah does talk about a reset, but the reset only occurs after the offering. You see, so what did Moses do? Moses placed the offering, so before they get their desires. What is sin offering? Sin offering simply means that they were not reaching their potential. Now they can reach their potential. Sin is the missing of the mark, missing of the Torah. Now, Aaron had no sin. His sons had no sin. So what's missing of the mark? They were basically not manifesting. That's what it's telling you. So they basically were missing the mark. Not that they were sinning as how we understand it in the modern terminology. Modern terminology means, hey, you ate pork, you committed a sin. No, we're not talking about eating pork type of sin. We're talking about missing the mark. In other words, they were failing to hit their desire. So Moses did that offering to allow them to hit their desire, and then the shalom offering cut the whole karma off from the past. Because remember, they were in Egypt. And in Egypt, our people had a lot of karmic issues, because they ended up in slavery and they were doing all sorts of mishappenings. They were worshipping all sorts of wrong deities, and who knows what else they were doing. They were doing a lot of wrong things. So what Moses did by offering these offerings, he said, you know what, they got bad karma, we need to stop it right here. And boom, here comes a sacrifice. Here comes a karmic offering, and boom, it's taken away in an instant. Now Israel can receive the blessings and the abundance. Well, how does that translate in our times? Job sacrifices, luxury class? Yeah, absolutely. Job did sacrifices and he failed. Let me reiterate the point. He failed because Job was not a priest. Only the priest can offer this today, and the offering is done as a money. In other words, you give the amount of money that is related to the offering. Today it would be $200 for a lamb in Israel, and you'll be giving the money, and the priest in the gate will have to perform a karmic offering, shalom offering on your behalf to get rid of your karma. Otherwise it will roll with you for the rest of your life. Nothing can stop it, by the way. You cannot stop your karma. I don't care what people out there tell you and what the internet tells you. Chant this and you'll go. No, it will never go. Not until you've done this. So we know this as people of Israel. We know this because I already did it for several people who had bad karma, who were dealing with all sorts of problems. Bad karma can show up in ways that you wouldn't even think about. It'll show up as an illness in your family that runs generation to generation. It'll show up as hardship. You have money problems throughout your generation. That's how bad karma shows up. And believe me, I've seen it so many times. I recognize bad karma 10,000 miles away. Sitting over here, I can tell you what family in Pakistan is having karmic problems. So my point is this, that it has to be dealt with, and it has to be dealt with by the Kohen in the gate today. And that was also yesterday, because Moses was acting as a high priest before he inaugurated Aaron and his sons. And after Aaron and his sons were inaugurated, it said it will go generation to generation throughout that line. Hence why Rabbi Simon Altaf is here, passing through that generation. Now, having said that, that is what's happening on the ground in that particular passage. So we cannot misread it and think, God is appeased by some blood offering. No, God doesn't need blood. In fact, God tells you that do not take blood upon yourselves. Do not take human blood upon yourselves. Do not apply human sacrifice, because it is forbidden. Now, today, I heard stories in Pakistan that, and maybe in India, maybe in other places too, I heard stories that they said, hey, it's going to be Easter. Apply the blood of Jesus on your doorposts and nothing will happen to you with the coronavirus. Total BS. Total BS. Total bullshit. Don't follow the bullshit, please, because if you do, you're only yourself responsible, because it is forbidden to apply a human sacrifice or blood of a human sacrifice on your doorpost, figuratively or literally. So I know it's not a literal sacrifice, because they're not going to kill Jesus in Pakistan. He's not there, but they're applying it figuratively and spiritually. It is not permitted in the Torah. So don't go there. Don't go there, because all you're doing is you're mixing up paganistic worship with Torah, and most people don't even know what Torah means. So they apply it wrongly. And especially Christians are, unfortunately, ignorant of our scriptures, and they do it because the pastor tells them or bishop tells them, and they do it because they take knowledge from other people that have no knowledge. So beware, such things are happening. Torah forbids any type of human sacrifice and any type of such blood application. So because within the Torah pages we have the symbol of the lamb, and the lamb's blood. I'm talking about a literal lamb, not talking about Jesus as the Lamb of God. All of that is hyperbolic. It's what's called symbolism, nothing more. So having said that, I wanted to take you to the book of John, and I wanted to read something from the book of John, which I thought was kind of relevant to our discussion today in this particular passage of execution of the Torah, because a lot of you out there are not executing the knowledge given you, and then you don't get your desires, and then you worry about it. Oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Why is God not giving me this? You do all of that jingle dance because you're not applying the knowledge, you're not executing it. It says in John chapter 3, there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Yehudim, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Yehoshua by night and said to him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from Elohim, come from God, for no man can do these miracles that you do except Elohim be with him. Yehoshua answered and said to him, Verily, verily, I say to you, except a man be born from above, he cannot see the kingdom of Elohim. Unless a man is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. And then Nicodemus goes to him, how can a man be born again when he's old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? And then Jesus of Nazareth, Yehoshua answered, Verily, verily, I say to you, except a man be born of Ma'im, water, and of the Ruach, spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Elohim. He cannot enter the kingdom of God. Now, from this one verse, let me today state a fact. From this one verse came the Christian, in quotes, version of born again. Hey, you got to take the name of Jesus. Hey, you got to say Jesus died for me. Hey, you got to say that Jesus' blood is upon me, and you are born again. That, by the way, my friends, is total BS. Because Jesus of Nazareth, number one, he was not God. Principally speaking, he was not God. He can never be God, because God is not seen. God cannot be seen. God is a spirit. God is a light. And we do not have that ability to see that light as human beings. So that's number one that rules out Jesus as being God. Now Jesus could be Kabbalistically he could be, but that's a Kabbalistically. Kabbalah is another story. But it's not like you're taught in churches. It's not God. Don't go there. And yes, he can be a Messiah. He can be a Messiah because he did things. He was anointed. He can be qualified as a Messiah. I don't know if the term the Messiah is even valid. The term the Messiah, by the way, is not even valid according to Torah. So let's not even go there either. So yes, he can be a Messiah, but he's definitely not God, because God does not, you're going to have several problems to deal with. And this is a problem the Jews have today, with the Christians that how can a man become God? You see, the problem is the understanding. See, here's the term. Here's the thing. Let me explain it in simple terms. In simple terms, man can be God. So Jesus in that aspect was God. You can be God today by the same aspect. And you might say, how? Well, because remember, your awareness is God, and Jesus had the awareness, and Jesus was teaching it. So when Jesus was saying to Nicodemus that you must be born again through water and spirit, what's he talking about? He's not talking about some mumbo jumbo, Jesus, please forgive me, and I love you, and please, put your blood on me. Not talking about that nonsense. He's talking about application of your imagination. He says, unless you apply your imagination, you cannot get into the kingdom of God. Where is the kingdom of God? He tells you himself in those passages of New Testament that the kingdom of God is within you. Well, where is within me? If it is within me, that means I have access to the kingdom of God, then I must be the king, right? Technically. Technically, I must be the king if I have the kingdom of God, because only the king resides in the kingdom of God, nobody else. So, if I'm the king, then I have access to the kingdom. How do I become the king? Because I align myself with God in the heavens. So, when I see myself as a king, and what did Jesus say? He said, I and my Father are one. So, I could say, I, by Simon Alter, and God are one. You could say, I and the Father are one. I could say, I and my Father are one. In other words, I connect to my Father through my awareness, and I can get my desires. That is what Jesus was talking about. He was not talking about some, some dipping in the sea and diving into the lake or the pool and become born again in that fashion. He was talking about a spiritual way, a method. This is a method he was giving. He was saying that, look, unless you apply the principle and you are born of the spirit and water, you cannot attain what you desire. That's basically what he was teaching. So, which I have taught you, that unless you want something, if you want something in your life, and unless you basically what you do is you break it down into steps. You can write an affirmation. Like somebody says that I want to receive $1 million, right? Well, everybody wants money, sure, no problem about money. Then you write a statement. I have received $1 million. That's a statement. Or I am in receipt of $1 million. Okay, you've written your statement. That is a perfectly fine statement. You can write it as I have or I am in receipt of. Either way is correct. Either way it will work. Now, what about attaining it? So then you go into your visualization. Your visualization will be where you broken that down into what kind of step, what kind of visualization. And you say, well, you know what, I'm going to visualize it this way, that I'm going to see that, I've already received the check, I've already received the money in the bank, and, there's a couple of ways to get around it. And you can say, well, I'm going to see my mate, as they call it in England, my mate is your friend, by the way. So my mate or my friend is going to congratulate me and say, hey, Joe, you've received $1 million, congratulations. And so you repeat it over and over again in your imagination. And you know what? When it cements, although you might think it's not fact, you might say, Rabbi, but that's not fact. I don't have $1 million in my bank. What the heck are you talking about? You gone crazy? I've only got $15 in my bank. And I had somebody, by the way, say that to me. Exactly that too. So, and I had to correct them that no, you can't, because look, you can cement that. When you continually look in the visualization mirror, in your inside mirror, and you continue to look at that, you cement it into facts. It becomes fact. How? Because you're linking, because you're saying, me and my Father are one. Remember I told you the kingdom is within you. Well, if the kingdom is within you, then you are the king. You are the queen. Because only the queen rules the kingdom, or only the king, you are that person. Well, if you are that person, then you have access to the kingdom. Once you have access to the kingdom, it's at your command. Kingdom is at your command now. Now this kingdom is not some airy-fairy place that is out there in the heavens above, in the skies beyond the space and all that pastors teach you. It's not that kingdom. Because that is their imagination, by the way. Their figment of their imagination. They think, oh, you're going to die, you're going to go to that, place up there, then you're going to be rich. I don't need that richness, by the way. When I die, and I don't want to be miserable for the remainder of my 70, 100 years, 110 years, or 130 years of my life, and I don't want to be miserable for the rest of my life. Think about it. Would you want to live a life of misery over here? That's what a lot of the poor people are taught. A lot of these poor people, unfortunately, Hispanics, Latins, Asians, you know what they are taught? Hey, live a desperate life, live a life of hardship, and make your life hard, and God will reward you when you die. By the way, that is the biggest lie of this universe. It's the biggest lie that they're giving these people, because guess what? There's reincarnation. Guess what happens to those people when they die? They'll get reincarnated. They'll come back. And guess what? If they haven't learned their lesson, they'll go through the same phase again. Again, poor, miserable, desperate, same thing. Why? Because they did not learn their lesson, because their pastor was lying, and their pastor was lying because the pastor wanted to warm up his pockets. So you got to learn that that is not the way to attain your desires. Only way you can attain your desires is what I'm teaching you here, is to, write it down, then you're going to visualize it. I've given you the formula, and then you can have it. Now, the resurrection of Jesus, by the way, is in tantamount exactly that power, because you are resurrecting that power within yourself. When you come to that point where you have the resurrection, you become like Jesus. Eddie saying that did Jesus die and resurrect himself as his own goal to prove he can use his power to resurrect himself and show others anything is possible? Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Because when you do it, what did Jesus say to the woman? He goes to this woman, he comes to raise Lazarus, and let me get to that passage. I believe it's in John chapter 11. He comes to Bethania, or what's called Bethany. He's with Miriam and Martha, and then he says to them, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believes in me, though he was dead, yet shall he be alive. That's basically a paradigm. If you believe that you are desiring a manifestation of something, a car, a job, a beautiful life ahead, a beautiful spouse, or whatever, and you can resurrect that just as Jesus was saying, I am the resurrection. What does that mean? It means I am. I am is a name of God, by the way. I am is going back to Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh. I am, that I will be, that I was. So what is Jesus saying? I am the resurrection. Meaning, God is the resurrection. Meaning, you have that operant power within you. You, me, everybody else has that operant power. But are you executing that power? Or are you simply having that knowledge and saying, yep, I have that knowledge, now what? You got to operate in that power. You got to execute that power. When you execute that power, and I've shown you the method of execution is your affirmation, your scripting, your listing, your visualization, imagination. Imagination is king. Imagination comes from the Torah, by the way. It comes from the pages of the Torah, whether you believe it or not. And I can show you. I've spoken about the passages, and I can speak about them many times over. So, what is this imagination? What is this Torah? Torah is hitting the mark. Imagination is a way to do it. It's all part and parcel of the Torah. And by the way, this comes from our ancestors, forefathers, who came out of India. Yes, India was the place they came out of originally. Abraham's forefathers came out of India. So, they brought all this information, but it was kind of scattered. They had it. It was scattered. And Abraham even applied it. Abraham used it. This is why I taught you. This is why I said to you that whenever you see the word pray in the Bible, read imagination. And yes, Eddie, when Jesus went to pray, he was going to imagination. Because it says he went to pray for 40 days. What do you think he was doing? Yabba-dabba-doo, 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 no. Oh, Lord, please help me. Lord, please help me. Lord, please give me money. Lord, please give me... No. He was sitting there, imagination. Principles of meditation. He was meditating. He was imaginating. And he was doing his imagination. And he came back. He was very powerful. He's what we would call a master manifester. He was a master manifester. He could instantly manifest. This is how he walked on the water. My goodness, I've never seen anybody walk on water, but he could. All of that is teaching us a story. Now, I read the book of Revelation, and it says in the book of Revelation, it says that I come quickly. Let me just, read that to you. Revelation 22, in there it says, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according to as his work shall be. What the heck is this talking about? Oh, Jesus is coming back and giving me a mansion in Jerusalem? No, it's not talking about that. It's saying that your imagination is king, and it will give you what you give it. In other words, execute your imagination, and God will reward you. That's what Jesus is teaching in there. Jesus is not teaching you, Simon, come to Jerusalem, and when I come back, I will make sure that you have an allotment of a mansion over there. Because if that's what Jesus was teaching, then people have been waiting for 2,000 years, by the way, and Jesus hasn't come yet. Because it says, I come quickly. What do you mean, I come quickly? Hey, Jesus, where are you? I've been waiting for 2,000 years. It's so funny. So, there was this movie, right? This Indian movie. And this movie was called, it's a funny name to it, but let me tell you what happened in the movie. This guy, right, comes from outer space. And he comes, he's got no clothes on, he grabs somebody's clothes, a bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he comes, he's not a Terminator, of course, he comes down from outer space, he grabs somebody's clothes, then he looks at the people, they're all worshipping different gods. He's in India, you've got Hindus, you've got Muslims, you've got Christians, you've got Jews, saying everybody's worshipping different gods. So he looks at these Hindus, they've got these little statues, and he says, which one of these statues is powerful so I can use it to get me back home? And the man says, buy this statue, this is really powerful, and whatever you ask, he'll give it. He says, I'm going to test this. So he sits there on the side of the temple, Hindu temple, and he holds the statue in his hand. He says, give me food, and he puts his hand out. He says, give me food. And suddenly somebody puts food in his hand. He says, wow, this works. And then he says, I'm going to now try because he has this little device that somebody else steals from him. And this device is what will get information back to his spaceship. So he's trying to find his device, and he says, can I use this to get my device? And he's asked the statue, give the device to me, and nothing happens. He's like, what's the matter? He thinks maybe I'm worshipping the wrong God. He says, let me go to the Muslims. And he looks at the Muslims, and they give him a slap because he's gone to the wrong God there as well. He goes to the Christians, and the Christians say to him, it's a really funny scene. The Christian goes to the church, and he tries to do something there, and they say, what the hell are you doing over here? You're not supposed to do that. Jesus died for your sins 2,000 years ago. Exactly like that they're saying to the movie. Jesus died for your sins 2,000 years ago. Repent. And he says, what do you mean Jesus died for my sins? I wasn't even around 2,000 years ago. He's like, I committed no sin. Why would Jesus die for me? So, it's like real funny kind of dialogue. So it reminded me of this passage that a lot of people today, they are waiting on Revelation 22 for Jesus to come down on a galloping horse. Giddy up. This Texan-style horse is kind of funny, maybe from Kentucky. You'll get a horse from Kentucky. He's coming down the horse, and it's coming down, in glory, and it's going to give everybody their mansion because they're waiting for their mansion. But guess what? No, it's not going to happen like that, because Jesus is telling you, use your imagination, and every man will get the reward of his work. Isn't that what Scripture says? Isn't that what New Testament says? Exactly what it says. It says, every man will get the reward for his work. It says, I come quickly. Well, if you're coming quickly, Jesus, where the hell are you? It's been 2,000 years and you haven't turned up. Sorry, you lied to me. No, Jesus says, no, Rabbi Simon, your understanding is wrong. And Jesus would be right if I told you that Jesus is coming on a horse and going to give you a mansion. That would be me lying to you. So he says, my reward is with me. In other words, your resurrection power is within you. And you have that power. It says, every man according to his work. By the way, that includes woman as well. Whenever it says man, it also means woman as well. Every man according to his work. Well, what is your work? Your imagination, your scripting, your speaking those affirmations. That is your work. Execute the power. If you do not execute the power, don't come to me and say, Rabbi, it's not working for me. Because I'll tell you that you didn't execute. if he didn't execute, I speak to a lot of people during the week, and I find that a lot of people don't execute. They listen, it goes from the right ear into the left and out. It's like putting food in your mouth, it goes through your stomach, processes and goes straight out through your intestines, and you defecate it out. Nothing was, it was processed internally and it's gone out externally, but guess what? It did not do nothing to you. So question is, it's like eating fake rice from China, plastic rice. They go through your system and they come out of the system and you got nothing from it because it's plastic rice. So I'm not giving you plastic rice. I'm giving you something real that you can grab onto. And you can say, you know what? I have the power operant within me. I am the resurrection. So you can say that just like Jesus said, I am the resurrection, meaning you can operate in that same power that God has given you. Now, of course, I'm not saying that the Kohen's prayers are not effective. My prayers are very effective. I can tell you, I can report you case after case. But for me to intervene is one thing, but you also have capabilities. So start using your capabilities. It's like saying to the President of the United States, hey, you have the power to fire all the missiles in the world. You have the button. You just press that red button and boom, you can fire 2,000 missiles. Now the President can say, yeah, I have that power. But why don't you operate in your power? So rather than, you come to me and say, Rabbi, I need your help. Sure, I'll help you. But I'll help you harness your power. That's what Jesus was doing with his disciples. That's what Jesus was teaching his disciples, how to harness their power. But they did not understand his message. You see, time after time, the Pharisees, the Sadducees, they were arguing with him because they misinterpreted his message. He was teaching processes of manifesting, processes to change your life. This is why I was saying that through the sword, you're going to achieve nothing. Through peace. What is peace? Meditation, imagination, scripting. By the way, Gandhi proved that point. Gandhi proved that through peace, you can even dispose of the biggest power. Gandhi at the time, and this might be news for you, did you know that Gandhi actually got the second wave of the Spanish flu? Gandhi was one of the people that was affected by the second wave of the Spanish flu, and he became ill. But because Gandhi's life was very simple, he wore one set of clothes and of cotton, and he didn't eat, meat, he didn't eat any of those stuff. He was very simple life. But Gandhi survived the Spanish flu. By the way, this might be news to you. So Rabbi Simon can teach you some things over here. I know a lot of stuff from history. So Gandhi was one of the people that was affected with the Spanish flu. Well, if Gandhi can come out, skinny man, right, and he taught the people, fight the British Empire with peace, not with guns, not with knives. Do you know who was Gandhi's inspiration? Jesus of Nazareth was Gandhi's inspiration. He followed Jesus' words to the letter. He applied it. Execution. That man being a Hindu, application was Jesus' words. Shame on you, Christians, for not applying his words properly. Shame on you and your pastors, because you should be applying his words, executing them just as he taught them. But do you? No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't apply his words at all. A man from India who was affected by Spanish flu and survived it, he applied the words of Jesus, and he thwarted and he removed the British Empire. But very powerful at the time, by the way. The British Empire was extremely powerful. And due respect to them, because they stole the Kohinoor, the diamond from our country back then. That India was technically my country too at that time, because some of my forefathers lived there. And they lived over there, and so the British Crown, they took all the wealth from India. They took the biggest diamond in the history of this world from India, and they broke it up into chunks, and they put it on the Queen's crown and shoes and everywhere else. Well, and people in power do that. It's no big deal. So it's not like something that we're going to cry about. But my point is this, that I have been there in India through my forefathers. I've been there in England in person, and I'm here in America today. So isn't that something? Yeah, India did ask for it back, but of course they're not going to give it back. My point is this. My point is very simple. A Hindu man who was not even calling himself a Christian, he applied the words of Jesus as his inspiration, and he thwarted a whole empire through peaceful means, by the way, not through violence. Yet today, Christians are not applying the words of Jesus. They're not executing what he's asking. Oh, Eddie, yeah, he saved millions of lives. He was absolutely a great guy. Good man. You know, I have due respect for that man. I have due respect for him. So having said that, what I'm asking you to do, today you have a Kohen in the gate. I can interpret the words of Scripture for you, but I cannot force you to execute the power. You have the operant power. You must execute. Now, I could help you do it. I could teach you how to do it. And maybe for some, I could even do it as well. But I have my bag is full. I have to deal with all sorts of people all around me, poor people, sick people, ill people, people who are lack knowledge, people who desire understanding, people who are dying, people who have no food. I have to deal with all sorts of people. My plate is full. So unfortunately, because my plate is full, I can't, manifest on your behalf your desires. I can teach you, and I want you to execute your desires. Where I can help, I will help. Where I can teach you a method, I will teach you. Where there is power, I will give it to you. But I am very selective as well. I don't give the power that I have to everybody. I give it in piecemeal. I select my students very carefully, because I know that a lot of people out there, they take information and then they don't give you a due regard, and then they slander you, and then they go around saying that you're the evil and they're the great people out there. So I've already been through that. I wasn't the only one who's been through that. Jesus went through it, Moses went through it, and probably Abraham went through it. So we have to learn lessons from our forefathers. Don't do. There was a rabbi in Israel. Several years ago, I went to Israel. I met a Jewish rabbi. We were sitting down together in Samaria, and we had a beautiful conversation. And I told him some of the secrets of the book of Genesis, from first page of Genesis. And he said to me, Rabbi Simon, where did you get this understanding? He says, you have powerful understanding. But he goes to me, don't share it with everybody. Because he said, people do not respect you, do not value you. When you give them the information, they will just, use it, discard it, maybe not even understand it properly. But, this is what is God given you. He said, God has given this to you. He said, cherish it. Cherish it. You have some great information. This is said by a Jewish rabbi, by the way, who offered me a Torah. He offered me a complete Torah from the Crystal Night. He offered me a Torah worth over $100,000 from Crystal Night. And I said to him, I refused the offer. I said, no, I cannot take care of this Torah. This is precious. I cannot take care of it and safeguard it. Because he gave it to me for the synagogue in Pakistan at the time. And I said, I can't take it over there, because the people over there are not worthy of this Torah. And I was right. My decision was correct, that they're not worthy of this Torah. So my point is that Torah has many secrets. Torah is a text, spiritual text, powerful text. It's not just history. It's a very powerful text. The characters of Hebrew have such power that you won't believe it. But maybe someday I will speak about some of the texts of the Torah. But right now I'm telling you that you are the operant power within you. You must execute it to change your lives. Jesus is not going to come on a horse to give you a mansion in Jerusalem, but you can definitely give yourself a beautiful property wherever you live, and with a big bank balance behind it. It's up to you. Do you want to live in the airy-fairy Christian church world where nothing ever happens? Nobody ever, nobody's lives ever is worthy to talk about, and they're always on the hunger list? Or do you want to be the man who actually has a big bank balance, a nice house, and who's able to help other people? Think about it. If you were today with a big bank balance, a nice house, you would probably be helping people who are hungry out there. You would be under that camp. So you want to put yourself in that camp. You don't want to put yourself in the camp of, oh, please God, help me, I've got no food on my table. Think about it. What I'm teaching you over here is golden dust. And if you take that golden dust and apply it, you can be something in life. So Don't be like the Pharisees and the Sadducees arguing about this and that and the third. Don't argue about Scripture, but apply it. Put it to use, put it to execution. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Rabbi Kefa. Lovely to speak to you all. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Have a great Shabbat and a great week ahead. Until next time, Rabbi Kefa, over to you.
If I could be heard, can I get a 1? Today for the lecture going forward. Baruch Hashem, Master Yahweh, Shabbat Shalom, Hallelujah, Mishpahan, Shalom, Shalom to you over there. Wherever you are in the world, listening in via YouTube and whatever other forum that we have this streaming on. Good to see you, Shanya. Things will improve for you. This is my message for you, Shanya. Things will improve for you drastically. Just take heed and take it to head and heart what our Kohen said. Continue to execute and don't worry about all those other things. I was in Walmart the other day and I just bought Sean, my son, a hat. This was the only hat in the baby department, a little cap. And I sent Hakoy a picture of it. But on the picture of it, there's a lion from Lion King. The little, I guess that's the symbol. And on that it said Hakuna Matata. So how many of you know what Hakuna Matata means? It means no worries. Don't worry. Hakuna Matata. So I got that hat for Nachan and he wears it proudly. Nice little cap that we'll use when we go to the zoo. But anyway, it means no worries, and I want to reiterate that to the family as well as we go through these times, the situations, and address the situations. Is that we continue to take action, we continue to carry on and do what we need to do, and it's very important that we do understand that. This is no time for politics. We are about the people. I'm gonna say that again. This is no time for politics, no time for pointing the finger, this, that, the other, and the third. At the end of the day, we, Israel, the family, we're all about people. That's what we're about. No politics, people. So for those of you who came in late, for whatever reason, I'm not here to put you down, shame you, but I just want to reiterate what Hakoy said earlier. He has put out a call for anybody that wants to donate. How many of you know of our plan over here in America, the PPP plan? You familiar with the PPP plan? The Paycheck Protection Plan? I finally figured out what that PPP means. It's a Paycheck Protection Plan. Some of you have benefited from the Paycheck Protection Plan. But in Pakistan, from the reports that we're getting from the Kohen, that there is no PPP over there. So guess who's going to be the PPP for some families? We are. We have the opportunity to be able to help and put food on the table for people. How many of you understand the statement, and you know the statement, and you understand the statement that I'm about to make? Torah is life. How many of you get that? Put up a capital L if you get that. If you really get that. Torah is life. How many of you really, you get it? You're like, Rabbi, I get that. Torah is life. Okay? Torah is life. Okay? Now let's take it to another level. What our Kohen is telling us to do this day and giving us the opportunity to participate in, because this is what it's all about. It's about participating. If Torah is life, what is the mainstay for somebody to live? Is that you have to have what? You have to have food. So, here's an opportunity for Israel to be Israel. Here's an opportunity for us to chuck politics, forget all the mumbo jumbo, and take care of people. Here's an opportunity for you not to only be life, but to be a light to the world. Do you get it? All these L words coming out. The top of that improvement. But this is what it's all about. So, I don't know how many days you can go without food, but on average, they say medically it's about, you can go, a month up to a month and a half without food. Food is a sustenance that we need for life. If you don't believe me, open up the book of Genesis, Bereshit, and you'll understand that. You'll understand is that the groundwork for life was laid down in the book of Bereshit. How many of you get that? You understand that? This is why when we associate life, we go right back to the what? We go right back to the Torah of Moses, the first book. We go back to Genesis. You start reading in Genesis 1. The creator of all things, presence, omnipresence, talks about the formation or the bringing forth of life on this particular earth that we have dominion over. Go back and read it. It starts right in the book of Bereshit. Life, life. It's all about life. The first chapter, life, life, life. So what we have to do is consider, well, if Torah is about life, and we are the Torah, we are Torah. Not that you're a walking scroll, but that you exemplify what Torah stands for today in 2020 going forward. Family. If I consider you family. So then we must be, if we are life, then we must exude and give life. We must emit life. And this is why the word came to me today from Mother Wisdom. She told me in Hokmah, she's like, we have to infuse within ourselves. We have to infuse life so that we can what? Emit life. Understand what I'm saying? This is why it's so important that we take our instruction from the Kohen. He gives us the life that springs those living waters that we continue to need. Along with food, we need water as well. So here's another great opportunity for you to participate. And if you want to participate in the PPP plan for Pakistan, that's a lot of P's in there. If you want to participate in a paycheck to help give them food, because listen, they're not working over there either. Corona has not only affected, don't live in a bubble, Mishpahah. Corona has not only affected North America, Corona, as you all know, has affected the world, right? Infected, affected. So, if we can all be of help, and I want you to remember that word help and put it in highlights and neon it. If we can all, be an assistant, give help during this time, how much favorably in the eyes of humanity, my goodness, will we be a light for our way of life and our way of living, just like our forefather Abraham. We're going right back to the tools, to the originator of the tools that we base our very existence upon, how we live our life. Is by putting food on the table for somebody else. Now, again, if you want to participate in that, there's many ways, many options. Make sure you go back and listen to all the different options that Hakohen put out about how you can participate and help it. And what we want to do is, help put food on the table for some families in Pakistan that don't have a PPP plan. They don't have it over there. So with the families that Hakohen's family is associated with, that comes, or that is attracted to them, because from what I'm seeing, it's an attraction thing. Is that families are attracted to the Kohen and his family, and that makes the beautiful thing. That connection. And so we don't want to refuse, or we don't want to shun someone that comes and offers for help. Genuinely. And not none of this mumbo jumbo that's coming out of Africa. And scams and schemes and all this, that, the other, and the third. So here's an opportunity to help. Now, we're not saying we're going to feed the world, but we're going to help those that need help, that come into our sphere of, or that, you may have an inclination to help. Has anybody ever had that kind of experience to where you've been inclined to want to help somebody? You may not know them from Adam, but you've been inclined just to help somebody, just out of, just something within you. And so this is that same kind of situation, but in reverse. They've been inclined and attracted to help, to draw to the Kohen family. And called upon, and it's just not somebody just off the streets and blah, blah, blah. Well, Book of Shem, to top of your responses, by the way. Fine-tune that particular talent and ability that you do have. And it's in every one of the family members, but at different levels. You know what I mean? Exercise that. Do some repetitions in that, and you'll do yourself a great service. Of being a light to the nation. Of just being inclined to want to help. You being driven to want to do something. And so that's a great, characteristic to have family. And we have it within us, but again, like I said, it's at different levels. So let's look at continuation of doing that. And you see, again, what else are we told in our books is that we're to be one of the great benefits of the exile and of the dispersion of mixing into all these Gentile nations is what? Is that we're in these nations to be a blessing to these nations. To be not a burden, but to be a blessing to these nations. So here's an opportunity for us to come together as a family and help out. I've already made my commitment to the Kohen. What I'm going to do, to keep up in your faith will do, and I would encourage you all to do the same. You know, to help infuse more positivity in your lives, more positive energy in your life, open up some of the, the airways and the streams of the universes, because everybody's streaming these days, but the streams of the universes to assist you as you give out. You need to be what? Infused too with more life as well. Well, how do you get infused with more life? By giving more life of yourself. Think about it. When you look at what the Master Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, what he was saying, you know why he was so empowered? Because he gave so much of himself. Thus he got back more. Do you see it? And that's why he would always ask people, oh, are you seriously, you want to roll with me? And I'm paraphrasing. Oh, you want to roll with me? Then you have to reject your life. You have to give up your life. See, not many people are willing to do that. Now, he's not talking about, oh, well, you got to go there and jump off somebody's building, jump off the Chrysler, the Sears building. No, it has nothing to do with that. And then those buildings weren't even up at that time anyway. Or you have to go out here and commit suicide. No, it's not talking about that. But you have to be willing to, let go and give up of yourself so that you can, what? So that you can be infused and get even more for yourself. Because you've continually given up of yourself. It's a great way to be. And what I'm seeing, I couldn't give an example. He talked about, when you become that giver, and I'm seeing people here in North America that have deep pockets. How many of you are seeing that? And with this corona and everything that's occurring, you're seeing, corporations, CEOs, businesses giving thousands and even millions of dollars to help with the corona, to help people. Are you not seeing that? I'm seeing it. And it's a beautiful thing to behold. These people, they're sitting on money, on top of money. They have generations of money. And what they're doing, they're giving. They're giving to help with needs and, doing great things for those people on the front lines. And I just don't mean doctors and nurses, but you talk about all those in the food services. When you go to your Costco, you go to your Walmart, you need to thank that cashier that's there, because guess what? She's on the front lines too. Saw what the president did for truckers. Yael, woman of the 10th, I know you appreciated that. What the president did in acknowledging the truckers of America. Not only truckers of America, but truckers of the world. I mean, let's face it, they're on the front line. They're making sure that, what's needed to get somewhere from point A to point B gets there. Wasn't that nice? Wasn't that beautiful? I tell you, that was beautiful. I mean, how many presidents down the line have acknowledged truckers? I guarantee you he was the first president to do so. And especially in that particular formal way. He hasn't been the first president to ever do that. To my recollection, and I only been on this earth 50 years, but to my recollection, as I look through the history of America, come on now. And what are those truckers doing? They're helping. Remember, put that word in quotations, help, put it in the life, being a helper. So it's very important that we do understand these things, that, we've been put here not to be selfish, but to be selfless. And in being selfish, we become more selfish, because we get more things for ourselves. You see? Isn't that a beautiful thing? That's such a beautiful thing. But that's the way it works. You don't have to give up of yourself. No, yourself you want to gain. Right? How many of you want to just, you see, that's the Christian, mantra, is that you got to let go of yourself. No, yourself, you have to gain yourself. To be selfless, you literally have to gain it. You can't give up. If you give up yourself, then what are you? You're nothing. But that's what they want you to be in religion. Just this robot that go to every command that they tell you to do, and you'll believe everything that they tell you want to believe. Well, that's not the case. You have to be yourself and see yourself as yourself and love yourself. And want things for yourself. How many of you want things for yourself? You have to want things for yourself. You have to desire things for yourself. You write all these affirmations. You write You know, you have all this visualization. Who is it for? Is it for somebody else? No, it's for yourself. That's not being selfish. That's being selfless, because you want these things for yourself, because you love yourself. More than anything, you should love yourself. You should love yourself more than anything. And that's one of the biggest stumbling blocks that you're going to see in religions, Christianity especially. It's because they tell you to give up on yourself. Catholicism is the same thing. You give up on yourself and you just become a robot and a servant. A servant to whatever they want you to do. Whatever they want to tell you, you have to believe it on face value. Thus, you totally ignore yourself to where you forget about yourself. I've come out of that, bro, jump. I know how that feels. How many of you can empathize and sympathize with it? Like, yeah, I know exactly how it was. I used to be that robot. I used to be the parent to the pastor. Oh, pastor said. How many of you with that? Well, pastor said. Well, pastor can go out and pastor because, pastor's word held no weight for me. No weight whatsoever. Even though I was parenting what the pastor said, when pastor said this, it had no weight to it. There was no physical presentation of that manifestation of the words that were coming out of the pastor's mouth. But what we are today, and I give thanks to the God of Israel. And I give thanks to Kohen in the gate. It brought me back to my place where I belong. To let me know who I really am. You know who you are? Let me know who I really am. Let me realize the I am is within me. To let me understand and know how powerful I really am. And I'm not minute. I'm not low on the totem pole. I'm high because I remain low. So for those of you who want to participate, please reach out via email. And if you do send any monies in, there's several ways you can send it in. Any of your energy that you want to circulate, to help, the Pakistan family that this money is going to reach out to, you know the avenues. And if you don't know the avenues, go to our website at forever-israel.com, and you can get assistance there. You can pay from PayPal, you can send it in snail mail. But here's another opportunity for you to participate, for you to help others at the same time helping yourself, and at the same time standing for that very light that you talk about, the very light that you say is within the Torah. Oh, Torah is light, Rabbi. Well, how do I take that and put that into? How do I take that and put that into action? How do I execute that? Well, the Kohen gave us a great example on how we can do it. How you can take Torah is life and begin to execute it. I'm telling you. It's a beautiful thing. It is totally a wonderful thing. Now, Torah is life, right? But you must understand, it goes deeper than that. Let's peel away at the layers. Torah is about how you live your life. You can run around and say Torah is life all you want. But if you don't live your life and execute your life based on Torah, then what good is it to you? This is why our Kohen's lecture was all about the execution of Torah. Now, how many of you would agree with me? Torah is in 2020 is way different than the Torah of Moses' time. How many of you would agree with me? It's like, my goodness, Torah in 2020 is way different than how we perceive Torah in Moses' time. I mean, listen, how many of you riding on a donkey today? I mean, I know all of you looking to ride in a Maserati, Lexus, Land Rover, Mercedes. That's how we get around, Baruch Hashem. Soon it's going to be, well, let me throw Tesla in there. I'm a big fan of Tesla. I'm starting to really understand how to operate Tesla in the stock market, Baruch Hashem. I tell you, Tesla can bring you some great dividends if you understand and how to use it. My goodness. Like Corey says, I have a camel on my table, but I don't ride it. I have camel pictures on the wall, but my goodness, I went to Israel with Hakohi. I saw a couple of camels there, and I never did even want to get on one of those to ride them either. Matter of fact, they were actually trying to spit on one of our rabbis. So, yeah, you're right, Eric. Yeah, you're right. George Jensen is coming soon. Soon there'll be flying cars as well. So we know that the times are changing. So Torah has to what? Not change per se, but Torah has to evolve. Now the evolution of the Torah, my goodness, that would be a great title for a lecture that we can really dive into. The evolution of the Torah. What have they done with the Torah of Moses? What has humanity done with the Torah of Moses? My goodness, do we need to go there? All the religions today, 99.9% of them pull something out of the Torah, correct? Something out of our books. Some religions have even got bold to just take our books and claim them as their own. Am I correct? I mean, they have adopted all of our books. Oh, this is our book, and we get blah, 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 blah. So, Torah has evolved into all kind of religions today, by man's standard. But by the godly standard, by the God of Israel standard, Torah, let's face it, at the end of the day, and I'm going to be selfish here for a minute, Torah's for the Jews, period. Right? Torah's for the Jews, period. Now, whoever wants to come in and adapt and embrace the Torah, then, open door policy. It's like Abraham's door was open for everybody. Then you can come on in. But at the end of the day, Torah's for the Jews. Jesus was a Jew, Torah's for the Jews. That's period, full stop. So you can see the evolution of the Torah. People have taken it and have embraced it and have adopted it and have changed it and have put man's hands all on it and created religion after religion after religion after religion after religion. But what's important for us to understand is that the evolution of the Torah needs to be explained to us. You understand what I'm saying? I have to know when somebody says to me, Torah is life, I have to know how does that translate to me in 2020? And this is where the Kohanim comes in to give us that help and that guidance and that instruction and to teach us, okay, 2020, this is how Torah needs to be laid out to us. This is how you need to live your life, period. This is how you live your life, and you live your life abundantly, period, in 2020. This is how you do it. And it's laid out before us with the help of the sons of Aaron. Not with the help of the pastor. I went that route. How many of you went with the pastor route to help you understand how you're supposed to live your life? I tried that. Been there, done that. Tried it, and guess what? It failed. I tried it with the priest. Went and been there, done that. It failed for me, right? Now, I'm not knocking. At least I'm trying, right? I tried. I'm not going to sit and say, well, I wish I could take those years back. No, I don't. I embrace those years, and I chalk them up as great experience. Years in catechism, years being an altar boy, years in doing CCD classes, years in all of these non-denominational churches, being a Christian, years being dinked and dunked in everybody's baptismal, from blue water to green water to, how many of you know what I'm talking about? To being dumped in the jacuzzi and blah, blah, blah. I tell you, I chalk all that up as experience. Chalk it all up as experience. See, because now I understand the evolution, how man has taken, I can empathize how they've taken, the books of Moses and truly the bedrock on how to live life is right there in our Torah. And it goes back to that statement that I always like to make. You can't appreciate heaven unless you've been through hell. How many of you know what I'm talking about? I'm going to say that again. You cannot appreciate heaven unless you've been through hell. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, America has a high appreciation for a lot of things these days. Correct me if I'm wrong. Why? It's because for some folks right now, it's hell on earth right now. So when we come through this and we just totally, knock out and annihilate this virus, people are going to have a high appreciation for the things that they had totally forgotten about being in the mainstream. And that their focus is going to change. And that's a beautiful thing. And I wrote this down because I think it's important. There's a lot of positive things that are coming out of Corona. How many of you can agree with me? A lot of great positivity. I see a lot of great innovation. I see a lot of unity. I see a lot of love for humanity. I see a lot of great things coming out of Corona. And I'm continuing to see that as a student of nature. Now, I'm going to say this, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Can you be a student of the Torah without being a student of nature? I'm going to say it again. Can you be a student of the Torah without being a student of nature? Can that happen? You see, because it's very important that you understand that, is that the two must intertwine. Because Torah is all about life. Human nature is life. They've been infused with the breath of life from the all-omnipotent power. They've been given animation from powers, as we learn in Bereshit. So, you must be a student of nature. Now, I'm going to talk about something, and I guess I can get into it in a minute, but I think it's very important that we understand something. Is that one of the great lessons that we learned from the Corona is that, as a student of nature, you must understand this. Is anybody seeing what's the number one problem that people are having with isolation? Does anybody know, as you students of human nature, you've been studying this, because I've been studying this here in America, I'm noticing a big problem that we see with isolation, because we've been told to isolate ourselves, right? Now, isolation, can have many great things and great benefits to it as well, if you handle isolation the correct way. But does anybody see a problem with isolation? Yeah, one more 10 says you can't get along with each other. Okay, that's an issue, a relationship issue. You can't get along with one another, right? Well, but what's another issue? And I'm seeing it being reported by professionals in the healthcare field. No human contact, isolation. Yeah, so the humanity, that's another H word, humanity, because today my lecture is titled, the H attitudes, not the B attitudes, but the H attitudes. There you go, Eddies. It's depression and loneliness. A lot of people and professionals are talking about this. They're not talking about, people worry about not being able to pay their bills and blah, blah, blah. No, they're talking about, and this is, I tell you what, this is such a great thing that's going to come out of this. And another thing for us Torah students, it's important for us to understand this. Do you see how benefited we are and how blessed we are to have the Kohen? And he's teaching us things on these very same issues about how to strengthen our what? Our mind. And how to what? How to love ourselves. And, doing repetitions on your mind and dealing with that ego and dealing with that, all of these negative factors that are within ourselves. Hakohen was preparing us for Corona before Corona even got here. Hakohen was preparing us for isolation before isolation even got here. How many of you see that? Because right now, the number one thing people are suffering from is not, the financial side of things. It's the isolation of being confined. Hakohen talked about in his lecture, it's in our history, that the master would go meditate. He would go pray for what? 40 days of just meditation. Just meditating. Baruch Hashem. And yet people can't even stay 40 days in their house with their families without some kind of negative energy kicking up. Do you see where we're going? Now, this is going to be a big factor that's going to play in the recovery of America as we come out of the Corona. Is people are dealing with a lot of mental issues. I wrote down here, mental blocks. With mental blocks, it leads to what? Depression, anxiety, worry. Because at the end of the day, humanity was not meant to be isolated. Do you not see that? One of the greatest lessons of the Corona is we're not meant. Hey, and what's that city? What's that state to where they're actually rebelling against the isolation. I mean, they were out there having a protest in their cars. What was the name of that city? Somewhere here in America. But people are fed up. They're like, look, I saw this one woman, she got on and she's like, look, it's Michigan, there you go. Yeah. She got on and said, look, they need to stop this isolation. I need to get out. I need to get back to work. Why? It's because it's built in within human nature for us to be what? Social creatures. You need to study this, students of nature. It's very important that you see this. We're not meant to be isolated on many different levels. This is why in our books we're told it's not good for man to be alone. It's not good for man to be isolated. I need to make a helpmeet for man. And what did Hardback say? Whoa, man. Whoa, man. So it's not good. Isolation is not. We're meant to be social creatures. We have to connect with one another. That's very important to understand. And a lot of people, they're dealing with mental problems right now. Not worried about paying their finances. That's on the back burner. Right now, it's a mental thing. And a lot of folks, you see how blessed you are, how blessed we are, and we're able to understand, and we already within ourselves, we already love ourselves. We're already there. You know, isolation for us was a blessing. Be able to love our families, be with our families even more, but that's not the case for every household in America, much less around the world. People can't wait to separate and get away from one another. All we enjoy is a fellowship of isolation with our families, our loved ones, being able to really hone in on ourselves and get into our I am, and get into our subconscious and really be able to focus on things that we desire for ourselves and for our families. And just like our Cody said in his lecture last Shabbat, is to make the world a better place from your own living room, from your very sofa. You can change the world from your very sofa. And you can do that. You have the power to do that. You don't hate yourself. You love yourself. And you're selfish with yourself because you want things for yourself and you desire. Totally opposite from what I was taught in Catholicism. What I was taught in Christianity. Oh, you got to give up yourself, brother. You got to take up your cross. And you got to walk. And you got to give up yourself. And you got to die to self. Are you kidding me? No, you got to love yourself. And infuse life into yourself. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The institution of infusing life into ourselves. So that we can be a light to the nation. And then we can go out and we can actually execute life, and we can execute light. How many of you want to be executors of light and light? Hey, that's the mainstay for us, family of Jacob. That's what we are. We infuse that into our environment, to the people that are around us. We don't take it and isolate ourselves. Isolation is not the key. There's a time you need to isolate and get away. When I meditate, I like to isolate, right? There's a time for it, so you can really focus in on it. But then you come out of your closet, you come out of that isolation, and you go out into the world. And you don't put your light under the bed, or you don't hide your light in the closet. And you go out and you perform, as Akoi is telling us to do. And not perform for others, but you actually have to perform for yourself. Too many times we've been conditioned to think, oh, I just got to perform for others. No, you have to perform for yourself first. Then, what will come out of that is you will, as you infuse performance for yourself, you will begin to emanate performance for others. This is why I'm a big fan of being your own boss. You be responsible for yourself. You make money for yourself, not for the man. Make it for yourself. Then you can give money to the man. You're a Baruch Hashem. But you make money for yourself. You'll be in charge of your finances. Don't let somebody run your 401k. You run your 401k. Baruch Hashem. That way, when that person loses all your money, you know, you can't sit there and point the finger. You know, you're going to sit there and point the finger and blame and put all your excuses on somebody else, but at the end of the day, you're responsible for yourself. You made that decision to put that person in charge of your finances. In every area of my life, I am in charge. Say that right now and mean it. In every area of my life, I am in charge. You need to be in charge. You know, we've been conditioned to not be in charge, to let somebody else be in charge. Do you get it? And that can come in several ways. I'm seeing that with the finance side of human nature. As this PPP plan is going out, people are getting money for free. People are getting paid, as I said, I like the way he said it, people are getting paid to stay home. You're getting paid money to stay home. Just to stay home. Hey, and get this, some people are getting paid more money than what they make to stay home on their job. Think about that for a minute. So what's going to be the motivation for some people to want to go back to work after that? See what I'm saying? This is why we have to guard and be very careful not to give too much. You want me to give you the greatest case study for the statement I just made? I'm just going to tell you to look at Africa. That's the problem with Africa today. Do you all not understand in history that Africa was one of the strongest, still is the richest continent that's being raped, by the way, in the world? Do you realize some of the greatest kingdoms came out of Africa? Great kingdoms. How many of you know your history? Some of the greatest kingdoms on the face of this planet came out of Africa. Now look at Africa. He's got his hand out for everybody. Lottie, Dottie, everybody. Oh, can you help me? Can you give me free, 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 free? That is me. Free, free, free. What can I get from you free? And if your name is Jimmy, no offense, but my name is Jimmy, and how much can you give me? That's the mentality of majority of Africa today. Free handouts. Got to hand out for everything. Instead, like I was saying earlier, is being responsible. Africa is the biggest case study for the statement I just made. Is that you gotta guard against giving too much. Because then people are not going to want to go out and get. How many of you are a go-getter? Say it. Say, I am a go-getter. But you see, if you give too much, people will not want to be a go-getter. They want to be a they're going to be one of how much can you give me? Go and give. Give to me, give to me, give to me. You don't want that mentality. So there's a balance that comes with that. And the wise will understand that. The wise will truly understand. You have to incentivize folks to want to go out and get. But it has to come from within. You have to, the Master Yeshua, remember my statement I made earlier? There's no time for politics. We as Jews are all about the people. How many of you understand, during the time that the Master Yeshua walked the earth, that there was a lot of politics going on? I submit to you, there was more politics going on during that time than during our time we're in today. How many of you understand that? There's kingdom, temple politics, my goodness. And, temple politics, and, maybe Hakoy can chime in on this, temple politics are some of the worst politics that are out there. I mean, cutthroat, backstabbing, murderous type situation. But when you look at the time when the Master Yeshua walked the face of the earth, the Master Yeshua probably made the statement, not the way I made it, but he exemplified the statement. There's no time for politics. He was about the people. The Master Yeshua was always about the people, wasn't he? When you look at his life, he was about the people. So how should we be about? As students of the Master, we should be about the people. About the people. That's another H word we're going to talk. That's one of the H words that we're going to deal with in our, H attitudes is humanity. The H word. Humanity. But many people today will give you another H word for humanity. They'll say, to hell with humanity. We, as the people of the books, we embrace humanity. We're here to do another H word. We're here to help humanity. That's what we're here for. Because Torah is life. Right? And we're, as students of the Torah, we're learning and we continue to learn how to live our lives with Torah at our foundation, and Torah at our core. That's what it's all about. And when you understand that, and when that gets embedded within your subconscious, and when that's placed within your I am, my goodness, then you become unstoppable. Anything you desire for yourself, you can have it, and you can have it now. But you gotta come out of the cloud. You know, the cloud is going to be very popular going forward. We're going to look at getting into some cloud, the cloud stocks, because, you know, coming out of this, there's going to be a lot of things where companies going to be using the cloud. And everybody's going to be working from home, majority of folks. You're going to be able to do things from home, cut down, you know, a lot of the overhead is going to be cut down. That's another great benefit that we talk about in Corona. Corporations realize is that we can still function and we can cut out a lot of this overhead, big buildings and all this stuff. We have people do the same thing from home. And the cloud and the medical side is going to really become big because they're going to start storing a lot of information. And don't go conspiracy theory on me because there's no time for that. It's all about the people. Leave them politics alone. And they're going to be able to collect all kind of data to help humanity. Man, politics is going to be key. I tell you, my son Nakshan, he loves computers. He loves the iPhone. I'm telling you, he's going to be in IT. He's going to be in IT. I'm telling you, that guy, he's going to be very big and do great things and help many people with IT and AI. He loves that stuff. And I'm like, Bukashil, that's great. I see it already in him. Boy, he gets in front of that, and I'm looking at charts, and he's looking at charts. Eddies. I'm studying charts, and I'm drawing Fibonacci's, and he's looking. I got him on my lap. Can you imagine? I'm here drawing Fibonacci's, and he's just watching. Okay. And he's very quiet. You know, he starts to, when that monitor comes on, boy, he becomes a changed man. And he starts watching, and he's studying, and I know he's processing it. I'm telling you, we're drawing Fibonacci's, and we got our trend lines on there, and he's looking, he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. He sees all those numbers popping up, and we put on our Thinkorswim platform, and I tell you, it's a wonderful thing to behold. It truly is wonderful. But, you know, we got to come out of the clouds. You know, we got to come out of the clouds and get clear and see, family of Jacob, what are we here to do? What are we supposed to be doing? And then go out and do it. And it's all based on, well, what do you want? I tell you, I've been thinking about this all this week, and now I have opportunity. How Cody has presented an opportunity for me to be able to help, you know, some people. Because you know, I'm here in Texas. Now, Cody, you know, Texas is a big western state. If you don't know this, you know, we love our cows, we love our cattle, we love our bulls. You know, we love our livestock, we love our farms, we love our guns, we love our big trucks. Everything is big in Texas. We love our oil. We love our people. Texas is a proud people. We're a proud people, hard workers. I tell you. But how many of you watch a Western movie? You watch a Western movies and you like OK Corral. How many of you like Westerns? You watch these Western movies and you know, a man will come into the bar in the saloon. He'll say, Sam is coming, and he's bringing hell with him. I mean, heard that statement before. You're like, Sam is coming, and he's bringing hell with him. Well, get this. I was talking to my child. We played something. I was like, Dad is coming, and he's bringing heaven with him. How many of you understand heaven is with us? We bring heaven with us. Heaven's not this fictitious place in the sky. We are heaven. I am heaven. Believe me, when we help these people in Pakistan, which we will do, you know what they're going to say? Heaven, they have seen heaven. Because why? We're feeding them. Think about that for a minute. You are heaven. Heaven is not what the pastors are telling you or what Catholicism tells you is somewhere in the bye-bye. That's my other H words and my H attitudes. Heaven. You are heaven. Baruch Hashem. You see? Kefa's coming and he's bringing heaven with him. And can you see me riding on my horse with my 10-gallon hat? And I got Nakshan in the front, and I'm telling you, we kicking up all kind of dust, and there's tumbleweeds going, and we just go, and we got, and I got my family in the back, and they got that carriage, you know, the carriage they used to carry people in, and it's full of food, and here we come. Keep us coming, and we're bringing heaven with us. We're coming to Pakistan, Baruch Hashem, and we're bringing food. And yet, I'm just right here in the confines of my home, of my bay here in San Antonio, Texas. But yet, my reach can be all the way in Pakistan. Imagine that. Because that's real. And all of you that participate, you're the same way. You might not say Kefa's coming and bringing heaven with them, but you may say your name. Deborah's coming, and she's bringing heaven with him. Oliver's coming, and he's bringing heaven with him. And you're riding on your horse. And imagine your horse. Imagine your little get up. You might have a little vest on with the little star because you're the sheriff. You come. Oh yeah. And you bring it. You're the sheriff. You're the servant of sheriffs. Baruch Hashem. That's how I see it, and it's real. Because we are heaven. You and I are heaven. Whilst folks are dying to get to heaven. Think about that. Is that not a true statement? For these people that are caught up in these religions, sad it may be for them, is that people are literally dying for heaven. They're dying. When we're living for heaven. We're the living, physical touch of heaven. We are it. Baruch Hashem. I just die to get to nobody's heaven. Totally agree with our Kohen on that one. Baruch Hashem. We are heaven. So we must understand that. Now let's go look at some of the words of the Master. Because I think it's very important that we look at this and we examine this. The Master, I'm going to go from John 2 as well, as our Kohen was talking about. John, Yahuwanan, John chapter 10, verse 10. Everybody knows it. I memorized this verse as a Christian. John 10:10. I'm going to read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. Thief comes not but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. I have come that they may have life, and they may have it more abundantly. Can anybody tell me who's the thief? The thief comes not but to what? But to steal, to kill, to destroy. Who's the thief? Who's the thief? Anybody tell me? Who is the thief in that passage? Who's the thief the Master's talking about? The thief comes not but to kill, steal, and destroy. Negative thinking. Doubt. I'm so glad you guys coming with these responses. Your negative self. Wow, you guys have been taught by a Kohen. You guys have a Kohen in the gate. Inaction. Indeed, resistance. You see, none of your statements said the devil, Hasatan. But how many of you were conditioned to think that was a thief at one time or another in your life? Oh, the thief is the devil. Oh, the devil, I can't let the thief come in and steal. No, you are the thief. You are the thief. You are the thief. It could be your logic. It could be your mind, if you don't have it under control and use it for the great tool that it is. You are the thief. And through the Kohen, we realize that we've been stealing from ourselves for a very long time. Just like these folks that have the mentality that, you have to die to get to heaven. That's thief mentality. Correct me if I'm wrong, but people that think you have to die to get to heaven, they have been subjugated to thief mentality. That's thief. You have totally wiped your life away based on a thievish principle. Wow, that'd be a great title of a book, right? Thievish principle. And imagine, you have to imagine, because it's real students of nature, how many people are stealing from themselves. Think about it for a minute. They're totally taking their life away. We talk about Torah being life. They're totally taking their whole life away based upon thievish principles. Thievish principles, but the Master says, I have come that they may have life. Baruch Hashem for life. What is that life? We know that is the epitome of the Torah. And that they may have it more abundantly. See? So you can be selfish. You can't have desires for yourself. Oh man, that was the biggest stumbling block that I had. That was a big hurdle for me to overcome. Coming out of Catholicism and Christianity, I had a double whammy. Because both of them taught that you got to give up of yourself. And you don't worry about yourself. You just got to worry about other people and help other people. Don't worry about yourself. God was going to take care of you. And do you know what? God never took care of me. Out of all that good I did for other people, I was never getting taken care of. How many of you were in that same predicament one time? I'm telling you, I was doing everything for everybody. But it neglected myself. My goodness. What? Thievish principle. There we go. The thief comes not. But, you see? Just I tell you, thievish principle. Thievish. I'm not gonna steal from myself anymore, and I'm not gonna allow anybody else to steal from me. Because I realize now, Baruch Hashem, through the Kohen, that I'm not going to fall for the thievish principles anymore. It has nothing to do with the devil, Mishpah. I'm so glad, I'm so grateful that you all see that. The devil not making you do that. You're doing that on your own. Through your actions and wrong actions. You know what I mean? The decisions that you make. This is what's important to understand. Quit going to church and get goosebumps. There's no time for that. All those goosebumps are doing is doing what? These emotions that are playing on you, that's another thievish principle. So the Master was pointing us back. He was telling us we gotta change this. You guys have been, you forgot it. You guys have been so caught up in the politics of religion that you forgot about the people of religion, the humanity of religion, the humanity of life. Forget religion. The Master wasn't even flirting with religion. Yet, many have, over the evolution of our books, have taken the Master and made him a Christian. Am I correct? The Master is a Christian. The Master is a Catholic. Is that not true here in North America? You don't hear pastors saying, well, Jesus was a Jew. No, they said Jesus was our number one first Christian. They preach the same way. Oh, yes, Jesus was, he was a Catholic. Yes, he was a Catholic. So we raise him up, and we put him on the cross. Are you kidding me? That's the evolution of man's Torah. But the evolution of the family of Jacob's Torah is based upon the direction that we receive from our Kohen in the gate. Meaning Rabbi Simon Alter, for you listening via YouTube. Forget the politics that you see on YouTube. Oh, he's not this, that, the other, third. Put it to the test. Put him to the test. Follow his instruction and see the physical evidence on the ground for yourself. That's how you judge it. Or continue to run after all these theories out there and waste your life. Another what? Thievish principle that's out there. Thievish principle that's robbing you of life. Now, I just want you to just, for 1 minute, just examine your own family members within your own family that you were brought up in. Within your own family, just examine that. Examine your own family as students of human nature. Go down your generation and realize how many of your family members were deceived by thievish principles and totally had their lives taken away from them. The Master Yeshua said, I come to give you life, and that life more abundantly. Oh, so that means I can drive that Lexus. I can drive that Land Rover. I can have that big house. Yes, you can. You can have that mansion now. Yes, you can. if that's what you desire for yourself. If you desire a cottage in the woods, you can have that too. Whatever you desire for yourself. What's your desire? Now, we're going to look at the 8 attitudes now in closing. We're going to look at the 8 attitudes because I think those are important. But before I do that, let's go to another verse that the Master talked about there in Yahuwah, in John as well. Look at John verse 14, verse 6. That's another verse that I remember religiously as a Christian. John chapter 14, verse 6. And again, I'm reading from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible. Yeshua said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Ab but through me. Now, I want you all to understand. The Master's giving you. I don't want you to look at the Master, and this is where people miss it. This is where they miss it. Let's open up the Torah here for a minute. This is where people let's open it up. Listen to what? Read John again very closely. John chapter 14, verse 6. Yeshua said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Ab but through me. What's that I? What is the way? It's the I am. What is the truth? It's the I am. What is the life? It's the I am. But many people took that verse and said, in their evolution of our history, said, oh, Yeshua is the only way. Are you kidding me? Let me see. Abraham didn't have a Yeshua. Moses didn't have a Jesus. Aaron didn't have a Jesus. Adam didn't have a Jesus. So, did they all perish? The Master said, it's the I am that is the way. It's the I am that is the truth. It's the I am that is the life. And that's just what was being taught by the Kohen. You see, this is how you will be known, is through your I am. But if you continue under the conspiracy theories of the thievish principles, you won't have the I am factor within you. Thus you will not be known of heavens. You won't be known of the Master. Depart from me, I don't know you. Are you with me? Depart from me, I don't know you. Because you don't have the attributes and the qualities of the I am that's within you. You see? And a lot of people don't have that. Why? It's because they're so caught up in the what? In the thievish principles that are out there. The thievish process that's out there. And we understand that the thief comes not but to kill, steal, destroy. Don't make it somebody to where you're pointing the finger, because if you are, then you're totally wrong. Don't make it it's because that statue over there is why I'm not being successful. No, it's because you're not connected to the I am that's already within you. The Master said, I will never leave you or forsake you. Then where is he? Wherever you are. Because he's within you. Wow. That was so much of an eye-popping revelation to me. I am God and God is me. God is within me. I have the DNA of El Shaddai. So I can do great, miraculous, and marvelous things as well. The Master said, these things I do, you will even do even greater things. Baruch Hashem. What do you consider great for you? You see, because what you consider great for you may not be great for me. It's what you desire. What does your I am want? I tell you, can you see? Can you see how all this fits in now? When you can come out of the cloud of what? Thievish process, thievish procedure. I tell you, the thievery will leave you in the cloud. You don't want to be in the cloud. You want to see clear. You want to live a life of abundance. What's abundance to you? That's what you have to ask yourself. You see, when you're writing all your affirmations and you're writing all your desires that you want for yourself, what's abundance for you? That's you writing it down. Oh yeah, I desire this. All your matter, you're writing out everything that you're scripting for yourself that you want, and you desire, if you would just love to have how you see your world, that will make you abundant. It's going to vary from person to person, from family member to family member. It's going to vary, and that's okay. That's the beauty of it. Right? Who all wants to have the same thing? I don't. That'd be a bland world, wouldn't it? So this is what you have to consider. Now let's get into our Beatitudes. We're going to talk about the Beatitudes. Because we must infuse ourselves with life. So we're going to, we're going to talk about the H attitudes. The Master talks about the Beatitudes in Matthew. But we're going to talk about the H attitudes itself. As you all know, one of the first H attitudes would be to be helpful. Don't say you want to be a helper, because I was affirming that, and believe me, the help-wanted doors just opened up. How many of you do the same thing? So just say it this way, and I'll rephrase it, and things got a lot better. I just begin to say, I am helpful. I'm not a helper, because guess what? Everybody had their hand out when I said I'm a helper. I was like, wow. Because I kept saying, well, why all of a sudden all these people asking me? It's because that's what I'm affirming. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm scripting. So I changed it a little bit. I said, I am a helper. Now, I know I said I am helpful from I am a helper. I was like, man, I had to change that up. And things kind of subsided. Matter of fact, not kind of, it subsided a lot. I am helpful. Pakoni today has given me an opportunity to be helpful. Is to help put food on somebody's table in a foreign country. That's that. I'm helpful. I don't know how many of you are running that same experience as well. You're saying, I am a helper, and believe me, everybody comes to you for help. So I had to change that up. I said, I am helpful, and things become a lot better for me. That's one of our H attitudes. Another one of our H attitudes, and by the way, you know how I came up with these H attitudes? Is I affirm them to Nakshan every day. I speak them into my 7-month-old son. Matter of fact, he turned 7 months old on the 15th. It was a few days ago. But I affirm this to him every single day. I speak this to him. The H attitudes. So I was like, wow, if they're good enough for Nakshan, then they're good enough for my family too. You know what I mean? The H attitudes. And you infuse these within you. And what do? They empower you to emit marvelous things for others around you, to be a light, to illuminate your light, and to be a lifeline to many people around you. So my other H attitude is healthy. I am healthy. Some of you probably already say that one as well in your affirmation. You're already affirming that. You're already scripting that. I am healthy. Cody said another way the other day. He said, I have a perfect immune system or something like that. He said, my immune system is perfect. I have a perfect immune system. That's to deal with the corona. Something to that fact. He stated that. I just say, I am healthy. H attitude. Here's another H attitude. I am humble. And if anybody can think of some more, please add to the list. I say, I am humble. There it goes. It says, I have a powerful immune system. Rukashim. H attitude. I am humble. Always stay humble, and the Master will raise you up. I'm telling you, always stay humble, and the Master will raise you up. Humility raises you up. Believe it or not. Haughtiness puts you down. Total opposite. H attitude. I am humble. I am healthy. Another H attitude. I am happy. I am happy. H attitude. I am happy. I am healthy. I am humble. I say these to Nakshan every single day. Another one I say to Nakshan that may not pertain to some of you. I say to Nakshan, I say to myself, I am handsome. I say, I am handsome. I am handsome. And so for you women, you might have to change that one up and come up with another H attitude for that one, because you're not handsome. You guys are beautiful, and I haven't thought of an H one for that one. But I am handsome. Another one that I say is I am humanity, because I want to help humanity. So I am humanity. I have to be a part. I am heaven. I say that one as well. I told you about the H attitude of I am helpful. Another H attitude is I am a healer. I am a healer. You can bring healing on many different levels. You don't have to be in the medical field to bring healing to someone, as some of you have already understood and have put into practice as well. That you are a healer, Israel. You heal the nations, Hashem. You're not a hater of the nations. You are a healer of the nations, Israel. And to top of that, when equal says, I am hospitable. That's another great H attitude. I am hospitable. So we have, I am hospitable. I am a healer. I am helpful. I am heaven. I am handsome. I am humble. I am healthy. I am happy. Infuse yourself with these H attitudes. You'll become these. These will become you. Put these in your I am. Put these in your subconscious, and they'll become a part of your I am. And guess what? Ours is attracted to these things. And thus, you will be known of the Master. Because the I am is the I am, Bukashin. And we have the DNA of I am. What is the DNA of I am? I just listed some of the H attitudes of that. Oh, to the opposite of that, y'all want more attention to another one there. I am Hebrew. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. I am Hebrew. Affirm it. Be it. Do it. Execute it. So, these are the H attitudes. I would encourage you all to use them if you think they'll be beneficial to you. And I know they will if you begin to apply them. It will change who you are. My I am has showed me who I am. Truly who I am. And I am Hebrew. I am Hebrew. Isaiah 1:10 says, I am home. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. So I give thanks, and on that note, I'm gonna close it up. The divorce says, I am harmonious. Baruch Hashem. So you add these to your list. You add these to your scripting. You add these to your affirmations, and they're powerful. Use them. Apply them. Execute them. And you do yourself a great service going forward, especially during these times that we're in now, where the world needs Israel. The world needs us. The world needs us. And I'm going to close with this. I mean, you've seen the commercial that says, there's this commercial that says, you're in good hands with Allstate. How many of you are familiar with that commercial? You're in good hands with Allstate. Now they got all kind of commercials with it the way they do. But you know what I say? I say this. I say you're in good hands with Israel. And the world needs to see that. They see you're in good hands with Israel. Do you see the beauty of the exile? Do you see the beauty of the exile? You're in good hands with Israel. And I tell people that around me. They say, oh man, this, that, and that. I say, no, don't worry. You're in good hands with Israel. And what I did is, I saw I coined a picture. I took my hand and Nakshan's hand, and I took a picture of it. I took a picture of our hands together. And then, I put a little caption at the bottom of that. I sent it to my family, and I said, you know what? The kingdom of God is at hand. And my family members, my sisters and brothers didn't understand it. Hakoin understood it, but they were like, oh, so you're making fun of our books? I'm like, wait a minute. Number one, there's my books, and number two, I didn't want to even go into it trying to teach him something. But you got to understand, this is where the kingdom of God is at hand. And see, but the Christian crowd and the Catholic crowd, they couldn't get it. They couldn't get it. Why are you taking pictures of your hands and your son's hands? Because the kingdom of God is at hand. Okay, again. So you leave them to it. Those are the wise who understand. So, my desire is that this has been beneficial to you this day as we continue to move forward. So do you all see the beauty of the exile now? Do you see the beauty of the exile? Exile is so beautiful, because so wonderful, because we have an opportunity to do great things, like the Master said, even greater things for the world around us, for our world. And with the assistance of the Kohen, we can do things for many worlds away from us, like in Pakistan, for instance. We can do great things there while we're in the confines of our own home in isolation. We're isolated, but we're not isolated, are we? You could never isolate Israel. You cannot put Israel in a bottle. And all of you know that. That's a lecture for another day. But on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm going to turn it over to our Kohen. If you guys have any questions at this time, please shoot them out. Please shoot them out. And I don't mean like with a gun, but please let us know. Because some people say, oh, you're just a gun lover, bro. I do like guns, by the way. Me and guns have a friendship that lasts forever. I like guns. My wife from China, she never shot a gun. She wants to go shooting, so we're going to go shoot some guns for Brazil. But, but again, if you have any questions, please let them be made known. And remember, the only dumb question, the only stupid question is the one that's not asked. Understand that going forward. Don't be shy. Remember, we're family members here. The Kohen is in the gate for us, and we should use them and utilize them for our benefit. So I think it's very, very important that you understand that going forward. So I'm going to turn it over to you, our Kohen, and you all have a great Shabbat, great 6 days of labor ahead, and make it wonderful.
Todah for that, Rabbi Kefa. I just had a story that was sent to me by somebody about the Smithfield pork plant that apparently that had a big fallout, and it's up there in Shocks Falls. Some kind of big fallout over there. A lot of people got infected, and eventually the plant was shut down. And surprise, surprise, that it's owned by a Chinese billionaire. So a lot of immigrants work over there. Immigrant families work there, a lot of them, and that plant got the COVID-19 disease, and it kind of ran through it. I think one person died there as well from it. So interesting stories coming out from different food plants that are being affected. But having said that, this virus, it doesn't care about creed, religion, faith, color, whatever you have. It don't care about those things. So the best thing to do at this time, other than the fact that you're all isolating yourself, is that you must have higher immune systems. Isolation, by the way, is, a lot of people will tell you isolation works. I'll tell you that it won't work, because if you don't have a good immune system, you can pick up the disease somewhere along the line. So you've got to be careful with a better immune system. And the reason why I say that is when this disease was active back in February, and February, the disease was very much active in all the airports of the world, not just America, in England, and all the airports were open, and that's when it invisibly spread, before actually even people thought about stopping it and knowing about it. And at that point, I passed through 5 airports. They were operating just like any other airport, like normal at the time, when I returned back from the East. But the disease was active. So, think about it. How many people got infected at that time? Derek, you're asking what one of the most important things to do after tithes and shalom offering, ancestral karmic debt. Yes, the ancestral karma is what you acquire from your father's lineage, and that's something that has to be dealt with, as I said earlier, through a shalom offering, which I said is usually qualified to be a lamb. Value from Israel of a lamb is between $200 to $400. So I usually say $200, but that is the value today of a lamb, and there has to be given an equivalent offering. And for that, you'd have to tell me your father's name and your name, and then I'd have to stand in behalf to offer that to the God of Israel as a Kohen, in order to prevent the karmic debt, as you call it, to enter into your life. And I have seen people's lives ravaged by disease, by illness, financial issues, bad businesses, bad relationships. See, people think that all these things happen maybe because, I'm just unlucky. It's not that. It's not unluck. Unluck has nothing to do with it. Usually, karma can follow people and affect people in different ways, and that's basically what we're dealing with here. Now, of course, now that you know how to implement the words of the Torah and the words that Jesus spoke, now that you know how to implement them, you can definitely make your life a lot better than where it is. You can definitely make it a lot better. But you see, remember the key principle that we saw in this Torah Parsha today, in the Shemini, which is the 8th day, was what? Before abundance comes into your life, what did Moses have to do? He first had to inaugurate the Kohanim and do the sacrifice. First thing they had to do was say, lay down a sacrifice before they can achieve their objectives and desires. So what Moses was teaching in this particular passage was not so much that you have to kill a goat and a lamb and a sheep and God wants it. No, he was actually teaching totally the opposite. Before you receive the mark, in other words, mark of the Torah is completion in your life. Before you receive the completion in your life of your desires and wants and things that you desire, of course, nothing wrong with them, is that you've got to start with a clean slate. So he started them with a clean slate by doing those offerings. So now they had a clean slate, and sure, because remember that it was Aaron that was involved in the when they made that calf. Remember the calf incident, which is spoken about in the book of Exodus? Aaron was involved in that, and then Aaron was, whether he was forced to, or whether it was peer pressure or family pressure or friend pressure or neighbor pressure, he was forced to make, this thing of golden calf, and he was part and parcel of that. So Aaron was also carrying some karmic debt, and Moses came along acting as the king and the high priest before he passed the high priest to Aaron and his sons. That's where he took care of Aaron's and his sons' debt forever. Stopped it right there in tracks. And then he said, now you can do it for the rest. See, that's where all these sacrifices and offerings come in. A lot of people think there's some kind of a bad ritual from the past, but the ritual actually has a spiritual principle behind it. And it's nothing to do with physical things like, where people think, oh, well, maybe this saved them, maybe this gave them heaven. It's got nothing to do with that, because Israel was already a saved people. They were already going to heaven after their death. But guess what? Before they go to heaven, they maybe have 9-10 lives, reincarnations. Maybe they come back 10 times before God says, okay, that's enough. Now, you don't need to go back. So again, Christianity don't teach you all these things, and Christianity never will teach you these things, because they are not privy to these things. So they got one-track mind, and the one-track mind is Jesus is salvation, and that's just unfortunately the mistruths that you will get from churches today, world over. But as you know, in real life, it doesn't work. So hopefully, you learned something today that you can apply. And I would say execution is key. Execution is very important. All of my students who have executed what I taught them have received the rewards for it. And there are other students who did not execute, but they did not receive either. So don't blame the Kohen for, are you a Kohen, not a Kohen? That's irrelevant. Whether I'm a Kohen or not is totally irrelevant. What is relevant is what I teach work? Does it work? And did you get the benefits and the blessings in your life from what I taught? And if the answer is yes, then I'm your Kohen. And if the answer is no, then I'm not your Kohen. So simple as that. Put it simply, is that I'm the Kohen for Israel, not for the Gentiles. So I don't really care what people say out there, because I'm not going to go with a certificate in my hand and say, hey, here's a certificate that I got from College Institute of Religions. I'm not going to do that. This kind of mumbo jumbo is for the churches. Oh, I got my pastorship from Dallas Seminary. So good for you. So it's not like that. The priesthood is down what you call a paternal lineage. Comes from the father to son. And as Aaron is my father, technically, going back generations, then we have the lineage. And I don't need to prove it to nobody, because my family history is my family history. My father's living in India, my forefathers living in Iran. That is actually a reality. And I'm not talking about looking at the Bible to verify that fact. I know that reality for myself, because my family came out of Persia. That my father's father, and my father's father's father came out of Persia. I know that. That's what I'm saying. So I have a line with India. So I have love for India as well. I have a love for Persia, and on top of Israel, and on top of that, love for England, love for America. Why? Because I've lived in those nations. I live in these nations. So my point is this: that my producing a certificate for you is not going to help your life, because we have that lineage. We follow our lineage. We follow our father's name. But that doesn't matter to your life. Your life will only benefit if you execute what I teach you. That's when your life will benefit. So then that's when you receive your blessings. And the people who did not listen, who just left field, chanting slander and other things, what difference does that make? I like to be thankful to those people, and I like to thank them that they have helped me to become more, how shall you say it, more known. They have helped in my stardom. Because more people know me now than they did before. Because, hey, that man, he's being slandered on the internet, and who is he? Let's go find out. So, guess what happens? It backfired on them. It reversed. More people know me today than they did back then. So, Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So, I like to thank all those people out there that helped in my stardom. Help more people to know that I'm the Kohen in the gate. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Because I've been able to help many more people since that time. And I will continue to help people. And Baruch Hashem Yahweh, because there's only one God, and that is the God of Israel. And everything else, well, it's up to you. I'm not going to teach you religion. I'm going to teach you Torah. And the Torah is very clear. That, one day we'll get restored. And until that time, we continue to live the life in the nations, a life of blessing, a life of miracles, because miracles follow. Miracles follow means, and Jesus even in the passages of New Testament says miracles. He did not do miracles in one city. It talks about he did not do miracles in one city, whereas in others he did. Because why? And the evidence was given there that because the people had unbelief. And so you could translate that into very simply, those of you who don't believe, the words written, like if Jesus was speaking to the people and saying, do this, and they didn't believe him, they did not receive their miracle. In other words, their manifestations stopped dead in their track. I was speaking to a Christian girl, and the Christian girl said to me, well, what is your belief? And I said, I believe in the God of Israel. Oh, she said, how's your life with the Lord? I said, the person you call Lord is only a rabbi to me and a teacher, nothing more. I don't call him God, and I don't call him Messiah either. So I said, he may be Messiah for you, but you don't even understand his words, and neither do your churches. So I said, you'll be better off going reading Winston Peale. Winston Peale, by the way, was a pastor going back maybe 30 years, 40 years. And he actually understood some form of visualizing. He understood it. And he wrote about it. And he's got some books out there, and he's obviously passed on. But he probably had more understanding than most of these pastors today in churches do, because they're teaching garbage. And you don't want to waste your life with garbage. Now, Winston Peale wasn't really the best person to teach visualization or techniques, but he did have an understanding of it. And he did apply it to, the things in his life. And he was able to, able to get forgiveness on the church debt and able to help people in his time. But, Christians hated him. A lot of Christians wrote bad things about him. Because what? He wasn't following their status quo that they follow. So be mindful that what you're getting from me, I'm an engineer by profession. as a software engineer, and I'm a physician as well. I am also a physician because I have a qualification for Chinese medicine as a qualified physician. So I not only I have the healing arts, but I have the IT arts, apart from the other bits pieces that God has endowed me with. But the thing is this, that I use those to benefit people, healing side and engineering side. So I have engineered this method backward, and I have 25 years of experience doing it. So I'm not giving you something I read in a book. I'm giving you something I applied in my life, and it worked for me, and it works for you, and I know that. So today I've refined the method. I've refined it so well that I can tell you back to front how it works. Because you'll hear all sorts of teachers telling you all sorts of things on the internet. Oh, if you don't do it this way, it won't happen. If you don't align with this, it won't work. You've got to align your vibration. That is all nonsense. It's total nonsense. You don't need to align no vibration. All you need to do is follow the right method. And if you listen to it and you do it, then it will come to you. Like, they tell you, hey, listen to this listen to this audio with both ears. No, in my testing, one ear is as good as the other. In my personal testing, you could apply the technique to one ear. Choose an ear. Choose left ear, choose right ear. It will work with both. In other words, either of the ear or both ears. So when you do your audio of your list, I listen to people and they say, oh, Rabbi, I'm having a hard time writing my list. I asked them, how many items do you have on your list? Oh, Rabbi, I think I've got 15 maybe. If I really try, I managed to make 15. And some say 8. Some say I only got 8 items. You know how many items I got on my list? About 120 items on my list. So that means either the person who's writing their list is clueless, or they don't have any desires. Because what's 8 items? It's nothing. I could name you 8 things in this room that you would probably desire to have. That's 8 items on your list. And those 8 items could be in your home. Maybe you desire to have a vehicle. Maybe you desire to have a nice TV. Maybe you desire to have air conditioning, cool air. These are simple items, I could make up 8 items just sitting over here. So when people say, I'm having a hard time writing my list, I say, well, you really have to ask yourself, what is it that you want? You see, what people focus on in life is what they don't want. And that's what your parents teach you. Your parents teach you this. Son, don't do this. Daughter, don't do this. That's what the parents teach you. When the parents teach you that, your focus is now on what you don't want. But really, your parents were wrong. But your focus should be on what I want, not what I don't want. So you want a car, you want a house, you want a nice spouse, you want love, you want money in the bank, you want a nice job, you want a business. You want nice colognes and perfumes to wear, you want nice clothes. That's what you want. So where should your focus be? Want or not want? Think about it. That's where our parents went wrong. Our parents went wrong because they're totally focused on the wrong area of their life. And they taught it the same way as well. So, but you have to now totally reverse that. And you shouldn't be, see, where your focus is, when these people were writing books, I read all the books out there. I read Think and Grow Rich. I read the 16 Principles of Success by Napoleon Hill. I read all of those books. But I tell you what, the methods in those books, yes, there are methods in those books, but unfortunately, they are not optimized. They don't work fully, properly, well. It's like some of this stuff is in mystery. And the mystery stuff is what gets you because it don't work. And other stuff is not listed properly. Because, I think in the 16 Laws of Success book, you can download these books. They're audio format books you can download from the internet. They're free on YouTube. You can listen to them if you want to. But they don't really help you in understanding the method. Because you can listen to it for edification. It will help you in edifying you, making you happy and so on, so forth. But you need to have a method. I am giving you that method over here. And if you don't have that method, Think and Grow Rich, 16 Principles of Success, what's the other one? Lots of other books, they won't help you. They'll just be, a good read, and that'll be it. You'll forget about, you'll read it, then you forget about it. So what did the one thing that Napoleon Hill focused on? He basically said in the book that what you think is what you will bring into the world. In other words, he said, whatever is in your mind, you'll bring it. And if in your mind, all you're worried about is bills, guess what's going to come into your world? And if your mind is focused on abundance and money, guess what you're going to be bringing? See, this is why billionaires in this world, we sometimes, I'm not saying we as in now, us people, we meaning people out there, what do they think about? Oh, that billionaire, he must be a crook. He must have got that money by, some other evil means. So, we sit in our homes and we make these elaborate theories that all the rich people out there are crooks and wild men. And they must have got rich by being crooks. So, whilst we also want that wealth, but we don't like to believe that we are crooks, but we like to believe that they are Illuminati, they are, the Rothschilds, they are evil people, they are crooks, and they are what they call the swamp. They give them all sorts of titles, by the way. All sorts of titles are given to these people. But guess what? These people are the ones that provide bread and butter for most of the planet on the world by, in means of jobs. Think about it. That billionaire guy who owns that Chinese, the Chinese man who owns a plant in Shocks Falls, the pork plant, Smithfield pork plant. Well, guess what? He has 54,000 employees in the world. So are you now going to say that he's an evil man because, okay, so the disease did go through his plant. Yes, somebody died, and yes, other people got infected. But is he evil? Some of you will be led to believe that he is absolutely evil. On top of that, he's Chinese, so he must be evil. So maybe he's part of Triad or something. This is the kind of bullshit that you get taught by people around you. The internet, all that is bullshit. Illuminati bullshit. The, other bullshit that you listen to. Stop listening to BS. Tell yourself that I'm not going to listen to this BS anymore. I'm going to now focus my life for me. I'm going to focus for me to get better. I'm not going to worry about, the president's going to said this, he's going to eliminate the swamp. Guess what? Where the president works? In the swamp. He's part of the swamp because he works in the swamp. So, that's just to give you by the by. Stop making it sound like the president is in some, golden, place and other people are all golden around him. They all shake hands at the end of the day. If not literally, then proverbially they shake hands. They're all rich people. They're all billionaires. Some of them are billionaires, some of them are multimillionaires. And they have really good relationships. Do you think by this stupid little video that you watch on YouTube about Illuminati that the president cares? Do you think he cares about that? Do you think he cares about his relationship with the Democratic governors? No, he don't. And so should you neither care either. Because you should look at what is it done for you. Where is your life today? Don't worry about where the president is, or where the president's men are, or, what FEMA is doing, or what, Dr. Burks is doing. Don't worry about all those guys. Ask yourself the question, where is my life today? Do I want abundance in my life? Do I want to have a beautiful life ahead? Do I want money? Do I want prosperity? That's the question you should be asking. You shouldn't be searching, who's the Illuminati? Who's in the swamp? You see, if you're spending your 24 hours of the day of your life looking for the swamp and looking for this Illuminati BS, then guess what? You have problems in your life. Then you really need to look at your problems and fix them. And the moment you wake up, that's what Jesus calls the resurrection moment. When you got resurrected. Wow, that was something. You suddenly got resurrected. I am the resurrection. Now you're not going to be saying, who is Illuminati? You're going to be saying, I am the resurrection. because I can produce whatever I want for myself. I have the power. I am the operant power. And I have God with me, within me. I have the kingdom of God. When you start thinking along those lines, then your life will have a radical 180 shift. And you will completely change. And you will be a different person after that. And you'll no longer be worried about the swamp and Illuminati and, who's the Rothschild family. And by the way, I lived about 5 miles away from the Rothschild family, just to give you a brief in England. But having said that, I never worried about them. I never thought about them. And I never thought they're evil. Didn't think like that. And why would I? Because, I have better sense. At the end of the day, I'm calling in the gate. I'm not like some stupid mutt, I'm looking at internet Illuminati videos. So anyway, I will leave you with that. Is the quotation that you hear, knowledge is power, is absolutely wrong. Execution of knowledge is power, not knowledge is power. When you execute the knowledge that you've been given, then you will totally control power in your hands. And you'll never be the same again. So with that, may the force be with you. The force of the God of Israel be with you as you go along your way and you execute the Torah in your life. That is what Torah is about. And you will get anything you desire in your life. And hopefully, in certainty, I would say, not even hopefully, certainty, with certainty, good things, right things, things that make your family happy, things that give you joy, things that give you, happiness. That's what you're aiming at. And who will not be happy for you? Well, maybe, some people will not be happy for you to be happy, but maybe they'll not be happy if you have a nice place to live and money in the bank. But that's okay, because you're never going to satisfy everybody. There are always going to be people that hate you. And that is the model that we see throughout time and history. And I want you to remember one thing. But I want you to think about this thing. People like Nebuchadnezzar were historical figures. People like Julius Caesar, historical figures. They called themselves God. Because you know what? They understood that God is within them. They understood that formula. And they applied it and they conquered empires. Think about that for a second. But it's only when they misapplied their power that they went on that slippery slope. So don't misapply the power. Apply it correctly. And then God is there to help you. So I'll leave you with this. Have a great Sabbath, rest. And those of you beginning the new week, have a great new week ahead. Baruch Shem Yahweh. Remember that all good things come from above, the Abba in heaven. All good things come from the Father in heaven. And we give thanks. Baruch Shem Yahweh. And shalom, shalom to you all.